Welcome to Water Pool-ooza. So we've got a lot going on today, and we're really excited to have all of you here. Well, this is great. People can hear me up above. Very cool. Hello, families. Hello, volunteers. Hello, community partners and guests and everyone. Today is our very first ever Water Pool-ooza event at Grand Rapids Community College, and we're making history, so this is exciting. We've got a lot planned today. This is an open house type of style. So we've got speaker series that will be going on down here where I am standing. We've got over 19 different speakers from the water professions speaking to share their careers in water and why they love what they do. We've got different demonstrations in the construction lab over to my side over here. At 10:30, 11:30, and 12:30, we'll have rain barrel demonstrations going on by our very own Stephen Ray at Grand Rapids Community College. And then at 11 a.m., 12 p.m., and 1 p.m., you all can get your sugar fix and build an edible aquifer with a team from Fishbeck and volunteers. So you'll learn about groundwater and learn the different layers and what they mean, and then have a tasty treat afterwards. Upstairs, we have over 24 different resource tables available for all of you to explore. Each one is hosting a water activity of some sort to show you their role in water and how to be a water champion. We also have different program tables here that can kind of share you if you're interested in learning more about water and a career in water. We have different opportunities for you through Grand Rapids Community College and through Bay College. And Eagle is here to talk about certifications in water. So there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to do, and we're really excited that all of you are here. So this wouldn't be made possible without sponsors and without funding. So this entire event is funded by the US EPA. We have a grant with the City of Grand Rapids, Bay College, and Grand Rapids Community College to really focus on water and water infrastructure and workforce development. So this is our first event like this in this type of grant, and we're really excited. So if you like it, let anybody know in a Water Pool-ooza shirt. You can see them in a navy blue shirt. Let them know, because if you like this, we'll do it again next year, because we do have funding for it. Additionally, our sponsors, again, this wouldn't have been made possible without sponsorships. All of these shirts that our volunteers and community partners are wearing were funded by Fishbeck and Infrastructure Alternatives Incorporated. Thank you very much for that. And then if you participate in water activities that we have throughout upstairs, you can enter your name into a $25 drawing, and you will have an opportunity to win $25 to various locations, maybe Panera, Applebee's. I think we've got an Apple's gift card, a lot of things. So participate. And that was made by Moore and Bruching. So thank you to all of our sponsors here. All right, I'm buying some time so we can get some people in before our first speaker. So y'all can listen to me yammer on, or you can continue with your activities upstairs. So like I said, we have over 24 different resource tables available for you to explore upstairs. We've got such a great turnout and a rock star lineup of our organizations that are here. And participation in these events, you will earn a stamp. And for every stamp you earn, it'll give you a chance to win a $25 gift card. So if you fill up your passport card with stamps, you can enter your name into a drawing. So please participate. There are two different types of passports. So if you are 7th grade or below, you've got a little bit of an easier passport than maybe some of the older adults. So while we're here and I yammer on just a little bit more, our first speaker is going to be kicking off at 10:20. So part of our EPA grant is a public works camp. So if you're interested in learning more about water and jobs in water and in public works, We do offer a camp for 3 days for $25. It's a great opportunity for 6th through 9th graders to learn about public works camps and what we do in the city to help make your streets, water, and everything clean and functioning for humanity. So we've got various posters going on throughout. Please grab one. Registration hasn't opened yet, but it will be here shortly. And if you sign up for the email, you'll get a notification when Public Works Camp has opened. So today we're exploring careers in water, and water is a very rewarding type of career path. When you think about where your water comes from, I mean, how many of you have turned on your faucet or taken a shower and thought, oh, I wonder where this comes from? Probably not many. So benefits of working in water, it's very rewarding. You are providing a service. You are the first line of public health for our community. It's also, there's lots of opportunities for room to grow and provide environmental stewardship. So there's so many different entry points into careers in water. You don't have to be on the technical side necessarily. You can be on the environmental side, you can be on the engineering side, the operations side. The world is your oyster, and we're going to have a variety of different types of speakers here to talk about community engagement, to talk about conservation, their role in drinking water, wastewater, and also the business side, and how you can get certified and the education paths that you need. So a big topic that we have is called the urban water cycle. And so when you think about water and where it comes from, you probably don't really realize where your drinking water comes from. So there's a couple people in the audience here, up above and below. I want to ask you, where does the city of Grand Rapids get their drinking water from? Yell it out. Lake Michigan. Yes, it's not the Grand River anymore. So we actually get our drinking water from Lake Michigan, and we pump it all into town underground. There's a series of pipes and a maze of various sized pipes that are underground that bring water from Lake Michigan to you and your business and your homes. From that, you use it. What happens to the water after you use it? Anybody? It goes to wastewater. It gets treated before it's returned into the environment. That's a really important thing. If we don't treat our raw sewage and what comes out of our bodies and goes down the drains before it goes into the environment, we've got some problems. So it gets treated at our wastewater plant, and then it gets returned back to the environment. Does anybody know what body of water the Grand River eventually flows back into? Yes, it goes back into Lake Michigan. And where does the city of Grand Rapids get their drinking water from? Lake Michigan. So it's important that every step of the urban water cycle, we are taking care of our water and we're protecting it, because it's all the same water. The water that we have today is the same water that we have for tomorrow and future generations. So, without further ado, let's introduce our speakers. So, this first group of speakers is going to be speaking on source water and community engagement and how you can get involved in your community to help protect our waters. We have Alyssa Olson, who is a hydrogeologist, and it works with Fishbeck. We've got Sensi, who is with the Lower Grand River Organization of Watersheds, who will be speaking on her role in water conservation. We've got Ken Yonker, our Kent County Drain Commissioner, speaking on his role and what he loves about water. And then we also have, and I don't have my agenda in front of me, I think that might be all three of you. Brittany Pasden and Ashley Mark, thank you very much. Brittany Pasden and Ashley Mark, they are with our Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and they will be sharing their ways that they get involved with community engagement. So, without further ado, I'm going to pass the mic off to Alyssa Olson, and she's going to talk about source water.
Thanks, Hillary. My name's Alyssa Olson. I'm a hydrogeologist for Fishbeck. One thing about hydrogeology is it's a science, so we do a lot of discovery and theorizing and use our data to kind of come back on what we need. So my discovery is that I do not do well on night shift. So what is a hydrogeologist? First and foremost, we need to understand what I'm targeting as a hydrogeologist, and that's groundwater. So groundwater, this is the water cycle. The water cycle's got a lot of complex things that affect groundwater, but what I focus in on is where the wells are located. My job is to locate a good access point for wells. My job is to make sure that the water quality for that well is going to be sustainable for the use that it's being drilled for. And then my job is also to make sure that the aquifer that I'm drilling into is capable of handling the amount of water that the client needs. So in this picture you can see there's, I don't know if this is, there's a top portion here where we've got farming and agricultural that are pumping and the water table is lower and you can see a little bit of a cone around those wells. That wouldn't be a good place if I got someone that needs a lot of water. I would probably need to go into that second aquifer, as you can see in the lower picture, where those deeper wells have been drilled in order to handle the capacity of what a client might need. So what do? We understand groundwater sources. Part of that is sitting out with a drill rig and classifying soils as they come up. We're also monitoring groundwater levels and doing aquifer testing, pump testing, and step testing to make sure that the aquifer can handle what we need out of it. We apply for permits to the state. Michigan's very progressive in their water use standards, and they have a large quantity withdrawal application permit that we need to submit if we're using a lot of water. We also monitor ecosystems. So your inland lakes and streams, when you kayak, we need to make sure whatever water we're using isn't gonna affect your ability to go down the stream. You don't just hit like a dry patch partway down the Grand River. So we do that, and we also volunteer to educate people on groundwater sources. How did I get here? I started as an English major in undergrad, and I had a professor ask me if I wanted to be a starving artist all my life. I said no. So I became a geology major to get a stable job, and I also continue to have my I majored in both English and geology. So that's very helpful in consulting. If you can't write your reports in a way that other people can understand, your data is useless. So I also got a minor in GIS, which is a mapping program. This is just to help with some spatial technology. So when I was making my reports, I don't necessarily do GIS now, but I can communicate with those people and I understand the program enough to get the maps that I need generated. So I really broadened myself out in order to have a career because I have a lot of really expensive hobbies, such as horseback riding, and so I need to be able to support those hobbies. A career as a geologist, hydrogeologist in the Midwest, you're starting at anywhere from 50 to 60,000. That's your salary. Some companies allow you to work hourly, so you get overtime, and you will be working overtime. Full benefits, paid vacation. You're out in the field about 70 to 80%. So don't become a geologist if you don't like being outside in all the elements. After that time, once you kind of get a lot of field work underneath your belt, you start to get integrated into the office more and managing projects. But if you're still super interested in being out in the field, you can do that as well. It's kind of it's a very flexible career. Something that's really beneficial in geology is being a critical thinker, being handy, being able to, when things go wrong in the field, find solutions and not just kind of call your manager and state the problem. We love it when you call us and you say, hey, this thing happened, I've got a couple of options, which ones do you think? So being able to critically think and be quick on your feet is good to have. You also have to be a moderately decent pack mule and you have to be okay with bugs. So it does require some physical labor. That is Nick, who's in the audience over here, and my manager. We were over at a site doing some soil classification. So Nick's been my model for this whole presentation. The best part of my job is I get to work outside. Office jobs, I think, will kill you just by not being physical and active and It gives me that chance to be able to walk around a lot and enjoy the outdoors. Sometimes it sucks when it's like cold, but it's all right, you just layer. I get to see, you know, I take data out in the field and I get to see that data either confirm my theory or not confirm it. And then if it's not confirming my theory, I have to make a new theory and kind of figure out what's going on. So there's a lot of problem solving involved with what I do. And I get to network and work with a lot of really cool people in my job. But ultimately, like, traveling for work has been one of the biggest perks. This is a picture of New Mexico. I was out there for 2 or 3 months doing a water treatment project for some mines out there in Cuesta. And it was probably one of the best experiences. It's just traveling for free and being able to kind of see different things and different groundwater aquifer characteristics. So, any questions? Super simple, and I was really fast. Sorry, Hillary. Traveling, being outside, data collection, and then using that data later on. Geotechnical, I have done that in the past. I don't do it as much now, but that's within geology, that's totally something you could do. Anything else? And when he was asking about the core samples, geotechnical work is more of an engineering, civil engineering component of geology, where you're taking samples of soil and rock beneath the surface to see if it's compatible to handle the weight in which you are about to build a building. So there's definitely some mechanical engineering involved in being a geotechnical geologist. 3 minutes, thanks. All right, if there's no more questions, I'm gonna head off site.
Awesome, thank you. So my name is Sensi Pace Monastersky. I am the Environmental Programs Associate at ELGRO. And ELGRO stands for the Lower Grand River Organization of Watersheds. And for anybody who doesn't know, the Grand River is the longest river in Michigan. It is 252 miles long. Yes. So because it is so long, it is broken into 3 different sections for management purposes, among other things. So the headwaters start in Jackson, Michigan, and then it's going to meander through Lansing. So in Jackson, they have the Upper Grand River Alliance. In Lansing, they have the Middle Grand River Organization of Watersheds. And then it comes to us, starting in the Lower Grand, and that starts at about Portland area. And that's the portion that we manage, and it ultimately empties into Lake Michigan, where we get all of our drinking water from. So at ELGRO, we're ultimately natural resource management, and we're managing all things water-related with the Grand River. And that encompasses a lot of different things. I won't even begin to touch on everything that we do at ELGRO, but I'll try to do my best to explain it. So my personal main job duties, I'm working on I'm leading our rainscaping program, which is the Grand River Rainscaping Program, where we are coming out and doing site assessments for homeowners and small businesses to let them know how they can manage their stormwater on their property. Because we're really trying to have people take ownership of their stormwater and manage it as close to where it's falling, so it is not running off and carrying all of those pollutants on impervious surfaces like concrete, and carrying all of that into the Grand River or the other tributaries that lead into the Grand River. So if we can keep the water clean, or as clean as possible before it enters the Grand River, that is improving water quality overall. And we do things like installing rain gardens, bioswales, and native plantings, and that falls underneath the rainscaping program. I am coordinating and supporting our MS4 and subwatershed groups. So within the Lower Grand, we have 32 different subwatersheds. So like Plaster Creek stewards are here. Friends of Buck Creek, you may have heard of these groups. There are different areas in the Lower Grand, and they're all draining to it. And we at Elgrow are really giving them resources and coordination to try and get those local groups involved because our organization, we have 6 people, 6 full-time people, and there's a lot of area to cover with the 32 sub-watersheds. So if we can get passionate individuals and community members together to work on their local issues, it contributes and everything is going better as a whole. So we do a lot of that. MS4 is a technical term that stands for Municipal Separate Storm Sewer Systems. And that is something that all urban areas with a certain population density have. They have to manage their stormwater and their discharging of water as required by the state of Michigan, the Department of Eagle. So at our organization, we have an environmental engineer who manages all of those stormwater permits, and I assist her and help her with that as well. And then communications and outreach, because how are people supposed to know all of the cool things that we're doing without like getting out there and making the effort to get into the community and posting about it or sharing articles in our newsletters. So I am doing a lot of the communications and outreach. We have our annual report upstairs that I made both the last 2 years if you want to get more of an idea of what we do at Elgrow. The work environment is both indoors and outdoors. So I would say it's about 60% indoors, and that's seasonal because Michigan weather, you can't really do that much in the winter in this part of my field. But as soon as it's spring, we are out and implementing what we've been working on all winter. So you definitely have to be an outdoorsy person. I am so excited for field season. I'm actually going to be doing a macroinvertebrate sampling tomorrow in Rockford, which is probably going to be a little bit cold, but I'm just happy to get back out and get in the river. So some likes and skills that are really important to have is obviously science and ecology. This is coming back to all systems and how they work together. It's really important to have the understanding that you have to improve everything as a whole, and it all kind of adds up. And that ties in with non-point source pollution and runoff and all of the water quality as a whole and all of the cycle, the water cycle. Communications, as I said, it's really great for us to do what we're doing, but unless people know about it and want to get involved, you know, you can't make as much headway. And then multitasking. So as I mentioned, we do so many different things at Elgrow. It's really important to be able to manage so many different things at once. I know multitasking isn't for everyone, but you get the hang of it the more you do it. And just being passionate, really. Okay, how did I get here? I am from northeastern Michigan. I grew up on Lake Huron. I am not a Grand Rapids or West Michigan native. As you can see, there's a little pointer dropped up there. So it's about 3.5 hours north. It's a very rural area. So when I came to Grand Rapids, it was a big change for me. But my first job was at Burger King. I'm from, like I said, a very rural area, and there's not a lot of job options up there, especially as a young high schooler. So I started working when I was 16 at Burger King, and then I got into a co-op program in my high school. And that was my senior year, so I transitioned from Burger King to the Alpena-Alcona Area Credit Union. And I loved working at the credit union my senior year, and that gave me so much valuable experience to talk to people in the general public and just managing a bunch of different skills and office setting type things. So I loved that. And then I moved to Grand Rapids, and I went to GRCC. I do not have enough good things to say about GRCC. I absolutely loved it. I met so many wonderful people. I got my Associates of Science from here. And I have made connections and friends that I will be talking to probably for the rest of my life at GRCC. So I highly recommend you come here. And then they also coordinate with GVSU. So if you go to GVSU or GRCC, they make a really smooth transition to going to Grand Valley. It was effortless, really. So I went from GRCC to Grand Valley, and I got my Bachelor's of Science in Natural Resource Management, and then my minor is in Environmental and Sustainability Studies. And my career at Elgro I started off as a paid intern. So I graduated in May of 2021, and I started interning at Elgro, and I absolutely loved it. I was thinking it was just gonna be a summer internship position, but I worked really hard, and I'm very dedicated and passionate, so they offered me a part-time position following that. And then I was part-time for about 6 months, and then they offered me a full-time position. So I've been full-time at Elgro for a little over a year now. And advice for a younger me, I would just try to remember that everyone's path is so different. Like, on a timeline scale, slow and steady wins the race. Like, I know I have a lot of friends who went part-time and worked in school, or I have people who, went to college immediately after high school, and then they graduated really early. So just trying to remember that everyone's path is different, and everybody experiences different things that could potentially cause them to go slower or faster, and all of it is okay. All of it is normal and fine, and at the end of the day, you're just graduating to work anyways, so have some fun while you're doing it. So why do I love my job at Elgro? It's so multifaceted. We do so many different things. So I have some pictures up here. The top left one was us at a farmer field day. We work with sustainable agriculture and our partners. We have so many different partners between Kent Conservation District or Ottawa Conservation District when it comes to agriculture. That was a storm drain cleanup that I organized with all of the trash bags because we house the Adopt a Drain program. So getting out there and doing volunteer events and community outreach to get people to clean their local storm drains. So because if you didn't know, all storm drains lead directly to the river. So keeping those clean is not only improving the river, but also stopping from flooding. And then in the bottom left hand, there is a picture of my boss and I tabling at, I think that was actually WEMEAC, they're here as well, their annual Grand River Mare cleanup. So we were tabling there and just doing general outreach and letting people know how they can improve the water quality in the watershed by taking steps at home, like adopting a drain or doing a community service act like a stream cleanup. And our mission at Elgro is to understand, protect, and improve the natural resources of the Lower Grand River watershed for all to enjoy. And our vision is to connect water with life. So really trying to encourage people to get out and recreate on the river or any other tributaries, because when you're out there enjoying this amazing natural resource, it makes you want to protect it more. You want to preserve it for future generations. And so we really are trying to encourage people to just go outside and get in touch with nature so you want to continue to preserve it. And we bring together local municipalities and community stakeholders to address multiple different issues that we're facing in the Lower Grand. So as I mentioned, the MS4 permits, all the local municipalities, we work together with that to improve water quality because of what is getting discharged and what the permits by the state require. So yeah, thank you so much. Follow us on social media because we're always doing so many cool things. We have a spring forum coming up where we have multiple different events. This was our active commute week. We kayak to work. And then this is just one of the stream cleanups, and I do many of them. So does anybody have any questions? No? Awesome. Come see us at room 203.
Hello, everybody. I want to thank GRCC for putting this on so we can share our experiences in the water industry. My name is Ken Yunker. I'm the Kent County Drain Commissioner. My position is an elected position, and I'm on my second term, and I get I'm up for re-election every 4 years. So in 2 years, actually next year, we're up to another cycle of elections, and this will be presidential, and I follow the presidential elections, so I always get mixed up in a lot of turmoil during election year. That's probably the biggest drawback to this job is the fact that I am elected, because it's not a political position by any means. One of the biggest things that the biggest responsibility of the drain commissioner is we have to maintain the drainage infrastructure, stormwater infrastructure that has been established and developed in the state back at the founding of the state. So most of our drains are right around 100 years old. And we have not added new drains, but what is there has been draining the state so that farmers can produce in the fields. That was the intent of the drainage system. But along with those drains, there's a responsibility that comes into play, because when those drains are not maintained, we end up with a lot of obstructions in them, and then we get a lot of erosion. Then we get sediment, and the sediment goes downstream, and as we heard from our previous speakers, the Grand River, the Great Lakes Basin is very important to our quality of life here in Michigan and surrounding states of the Great Lakes Basin. We all want clean water. When I go around working with people, no one ever has a problem with my goal to have stable drains and clean drains so that we can keep less sediment in the drains. But nobody wants to pay for it. And that's the reason why I'm in an elected position, because when we do service on the drains, I have to assess for the expenses. The drain office does not work on a budget. The county doesn't give us money to spend every year for drain projects. We have to present need and necessity of the project through a public hearing. And if that is found, our project that we're recommending is found necessary, then we are obligated to complete that project. When the project is completed, we then assess the people for the cost. One of the main stipulations in the drain code is that we cannot do work on one of our local drains, which is our stormwater infrastructure. We cannot do work or look at whether we do that work based on cost. In our public hearings, the cost cannot even be brought up as part of the conversation. By law, we are by law restricted from discussing cost. We can only discuss need. Is the need there? And that really puts me in a bad spot with the taxpayers, because they don't want to support a project if it's going to cost them a lot of money. But the state law says you can't consider that. This is infrastructure, just like our sanitary sewers. If our sanitary sewer falls apart, we're not going to sit and discuss how expensive it is. We're going to fix it. It's not an option. Stormwater is the same way under state law. But it's very hard for people, so I kind of get caught up in some hostile situations at times. The other thing that the drain office gets involved in is retention ponds. All our plats in Kent County have retention ponds. Commercial properties have retention ponds. Elgro was talking about that, the young lady just before me. And they are one of our strongest partners, being within the guidelines of the MS4 permitting that we also have to go through, because all those ponds in these developments are under the inspection and oversight of the drain office. And they are very critical and help us go through all the legal jumps to keep our permit upright so we don't get in trouble with the state. And that then frees us to be able to do our inspections and do the improvements on the ponds as needed. So the other thing that the drain office is responsible for is mobile home community stormwater drainage. When those are established, we have to review those plans and make sure they meet our criteria. Another big issue that is constant in Kent County is lake levels. We have a lot of inland lakes. I have 28 of our inland lakes are established under court order lake levels. And then I am responsible to make sure that those lake levels are kept within that limit that the court has established. The job where most of our work is done is pretty much a combination between office work. I have 2 engineers that do a lot of engineering review and work. And then we also have a lot of field work. So it's about 50-50. We get out in the fields, we get out in the woods, we get out in the swamplands, we do inspections, we do GPS grade shots, and sometimes have a lot of fun. Skills for this job, I have civil engineers on staff. If we're going to be in that position, you definitely have to have an engineering degree. We have positions for interns that help us with inspections. And as drain commissioner, my background, I was a landscape contractor, graduated from Michigan State with a horticulture degree, and I applied that into the landscape industry, which then I went into politics. And I spent 6 years in the House of Representatives. Then from there, I was asked to consider this position because I had a lot of background in excavating and horticulture and dealing with grades and water and so forth. So that's a career track I took. I think in the Drain Commission position, it's very important for that position to have background in excavating, dealing with grades, dealing with drainage, to understand that concept and to understand what it takes to work in that concept. The drain office is limited by the drain code, just how much environmental things we can get involved in. But there's a lot of partners I work with on a constant daily basis that can do a lot of the things I cannot do. Currently, I'm working with 10 different partners on 6 different projects. Those projects range from $8 million down to about $1.5 million. And a lot of those projects are Elgro, Eagle, Kent County Road Commission, MDOT, Health Department, the Kent County Soil Conservation, the Trouts Unlimited, the City of Grand Rapids, Plaster Creek Stewards, do a lot of work with them, DNR, and as I said, for Elgro, very key partner for the drain office. So that's, I kind of used up my time. Are there any questions that? All righty, thank you.
Hi, we are Brittany Pasden, and I'm Ashley Mark, and we are from the State Health Department. Specifically, we're here from the Division of Environmental Health, and so that specifically means that we work with contaminants in our environment, which can include anything that can contaminate our water source, our air, our soil, and we help the community as well as folks individually within their homes. And so some of our main job duties include connecting with people because we both specifically work in community engagement within the Division of Environmental Health. And so that allows us to connect with our community to share both health education as well as information. The way that we've restructured has allowed us to be proactive in the way that we share resources and how we communicate with those in the state. And that has allowed the other individuals on our team to continue their work on their active sites and for us to create kind of a network within our regions and within the state to have this network of regional partners to be able to share health education, expand that knowledge on a more proactive basis so that we have an existing partnership for when those environmental crises and any of those kind of contaminants do occur. So most of our work happens on a remote status. We work mainly remote, making those connections, building relationships. That includes meetings that might be remote or doing some field work. So we're here today doing some field work. We both have a demonstration upstairs. We both will be demonstrating hands-on activities. We do that regularly in the field, and that's what we consider our field work. We love the community engagement side of things includes a lot of outreach. We work closely with our outreach partners, and you'll see that they're here today as well. So our key skills includes not only communication, because you can see that relationship building is a huge part of our job, but also being in the public and making sure that what we're communicating is coming off clear so that individuals at health education is actually beneficial to those individuals, as well as organization. You'll see that we work on a regional basis, and so we serve multiple counties, which means a lot of different organizations, and that means being really organized and making sure that those relationships remain strong. All right, so in high school, I didn't really take a path that was going to lead me to community engagement in any way or environmental health. That's not what I envisioned for myself. And so in high school, but there were opportunities. There were opportunities that could have supported this, so I want to share what those were and what was available to me, because I do know some people who took that path and went down them. At my school specifically, we did have a career center that focused on environmental science with a career focus in environmental science, which was very hands-on. And to this day, I'm still in contact with my environmental science teacher, who often took us into the woods and nature hikes, and we learned a lot of hands-on activities from him. And so what I took away from that, even though it wasn't my original career path, was that it really did spark kind of an interest in me at the high school level, because I found what he was teaching me and what we were doing hands-on was more exciting than, even as an A student, was more exciting than what I was learning in the classrooms. So from there, I did end up getting my bachelor's in health science administration with a minor in health education and behavior, because that want to spread health education had never left, but I had a focus in health science administration, and then I did get my master's in health science administration as well.
And then I had a very different kind of path, which is why we decided to both present. We went down very different paths in terms of education and career opportunities, but we ended up in the same job in the end. So I studied environment in college. I went to the University of Michigan and got my bachelor's of science in environmental science. I specialized in environmental justice and then did a minor in ecology and evolutionary biology. And then after graduating, well, while I was still in school, every summer I worked at the Michigan Biological Station, which was the most incredible opportunity. I learned so much. If you have an opportunity to attend a biological station, like, definitely take it. But I worked as an analytical chemist there. I taught a few classes. I worked in the lab doing a lot of water testing and testing all sorts of things for contaminants, which is where I kind of found my passion, which is drinking water. And I eventually found a job with the state working in our drinking water unit. So I kind of expanded, and then I've now found my place in community engagement. And then also, when I was in college, I did a senior thesis on an environmental justice topic, and that was also a really rewarding experience. I learned a ton. I got to interview professionals in the field, and I really just, I encourage anyone to take those opportunities. Even though it's scary at the time, you know it's going to be a lot of extra work. It's all worth it in the end.
And so some of the opportunities that I had that actually did eventually get me into community engagement and health education was, although my chosen field was to go into healthcare administration, I did my internship first at our local health department, which was the Genesee County Health Department. And those kind of opened my eyes because I lived 20 minutes away from there and was one of the individuals without health insurance. And I didn't know that there was health care and health education that was available to me and my family. I was a first generation college student, and my family that was blue-collar workers, we didn't have health insurance, we didn't have access to a lot of the resources, and so from there, my start of my career path was in contract administration, but that pull towards increasing access to healthcare was where that administration degree took me, but I never really got out of wanting to share health education. And so I really took what that initial internship took to heart, and other opportunities for leadership within my community and learn more about my community through an emerging leaders program in my current community, as well as my graduate thesis about the lack of mental health care in our Region 7, which is the northern part of Lower Michigan. Really pulled me back when I realized that reviewing contracts and legal paperwork, which is definitely necessary, but was not the path in which I wanted my career to go, really pulled me back into what else can I be doing to increasing access to healthcare and health education. And so that's what I want to take my advice into, is that when things get routine, get curious. When you feel like you're going through the motions, start asking questions. There are a reason that things have been historically done one way, but if they're not working, then maybe you ask questions as to why they're not working or what you can change. And the other thing is just stay humble. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because you're not going to always know the answer, and there's always somebody out there that can help you if you don't.
My pieces of advice are to take all the opportunities you can, don't be afraid, and also it's okay to not know what you're doing. I never thought I would have ended up in this job, but I absolutely love it, and the path you take will get you where you need to be. All right. And then why we love our job, real quick. We really enjoy the opportunity to share education with people of all ages. I've been able to do a lot of youth education in the work I do, which, again, never saw that for myself, but it's been so much fun. And it's awesome to see that everyone has something to learn. I have something to learn every day that I work in my job, and adults have things to learn, and children have things to learn, so it's just awesome. Also creating cool materials to share. I have always learning new things. Sharing information with people who need it. So often the most vulnerable populations are the one who need the information the most. So that is also really rewarding. And yeah. Thank you so much. Sorry, I knew we were running out of time. I was trying to go fast.
All right. Hello, everyone. So I would just like to say thank you to all of our speakers. Oh, there is slides for me. Where's the... Maybe? Wrong way. That one? Okay, I have slides. So I want to say thank you to all the speakers for this first section of the industry that we're talking about. So can we get a round of applause for them that came out here and talked today? So, and thank you guys so much for sharing your passion with everyone here today at this event. All the speakers will be around the event, and many of them have tables that you can go and visit. They have a colored star on their name tag, the speakers do, so if you want to talk to them more about what they've talked about today, feel free to reach out to them.
So quickly before I move on, we have a rain barrel demonstration and a edible aquifer demonstration over here in the construction lab and the construction classroom. They're right next to each other. The rain barrel next one starts at 11:30, and the edible aquifer starts at 11 if you guys wanted to go see that. There also is 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock on the edible aquifer, and a 11:30 and a 12:30 on the rain barrel demonstration. So before we move on to the next set of speakers, I want to take a moment to thank our sponsors who made it possible today. This event is funded through a grant by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, and it was a joint effort between Grand Rapids Community College and the City of Grand Rapids and Bay College. Participation in today's event gives you a chance to win a $25 gift card, and through Moores and Brugink, I hope I'm saying that right. And the Water Pool-ooza shirts were generally funded by Fishbeck and Infrastructure Alternatives Incorporated. So, hang on, I got a second. So without further delay, I will introduce the next group of speakers that are here to discuss their careers in the drinking water industry. With us today, we have Andrew Denial of City of Wyoming, Derek Johnson with the City of Grand Rapids, and Richie Garcia with the City of South Haven. And then the first up will be Andy with the City of Wyoming.
There we go. Hi, my name's Andy. I'm with the City of Wyoming. I'm an operator over there, and I've only been there for a couple weeks, but I'm getting more used to it as I go forward, and I'm there because of a really cool opportunity I was given through the City of Grand Rapids. I went to Jenison High School and ended up going to the tech center for their plumbing class. After attending there, I kind of realized that maybe plumbing wasn't necessarily for me, and I looked into other career fields where I could apply my knowledge of water and other waterworks ideas and stuff that I had learned. So I set up a tour at the City of Grand Rapids Lake Plant, and I went there, and I thought it was super cool. All the people there were really awesome, and I was really invested in this field. So one night I was talking about this this tour I had set up, and John from GRCC, he approached me and said, we got this internship going on, this program where we'll have a couple people, we'll get them into the field, and get them also enrolled in some online classes through Bay College, and just have a really good way for younger people to get into this field that can seem a little daunting. The water and wastewater field has a lot of different moving parts to it, and it's pretty hard to focus and get a good way into it. There's just so much you can do. So with this program, I was shown a lot of different career pathways and really molded what I wanted to do. As a water operator, some things I perform at my job are operating computer systems for SCADA and controlling pumps and the distribution system. I also work with a lot of lab work, doing water quality testing, making sure that all of our water that we're producing is meeting the standards set by EGLE. EGLE are the state of Michigan, and they issue all of the water licenses. So that's another thing as an operator. Getting into this field, I'm kind of looking at how I can get licensed, and this program I've joined is helping me along that pathway and helping me get licensed. There's a lot of different career opportunities in this program, like I mentioned earlier. I'm a water plant operator, but there are tons of maintenance positions, tons of chemistry positions. There's a whole lot of stuff. Anything you take an interest in, you can find that niche and make yourself really good at it. And my biggest advice for people getting into the field is to focus on networking and meet as many people as you can. The more people you meet in the field, the better. And making connections with people who have been in the field, it doesn't matter how many years, even months, is always good because everyone has a different piece of advice they can give you. So throughout the internship, I was able to do a lot of really cool stuff. It was really awesome because I was given the freedom to, if I took an interest in something, I could ask someone and then go get and do it. Picture on the left was me suiting up before jumping inside of a plate settler and helping clean out some of the sludge that had built up over the summer. And the picture on the right is me and Zach going through some of the tunnels underneath the plant where the water flows through after they drained it out. You get a lot of cool experiences with this program, and it's just super exciting that more people are taking an interest in the water field in general. That's what I have, and if there are any questions, Hillary. Yes.
And now you have a full-time job.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So I'm taking Bay College's water operations and management and wastewater operations and management. They're classes online that are asynchronous, so it gets assigned on Monday. You have till the next Monday to do it, and they've really helped with working full time. Having that kind of schedule with the classwork allows you to kind of get it done at your own pace. And as an operator, you work off shifts and stuff, so being able to just kind of get on your computer and get classwork done is really helpful. It also, these classes are geared to set you up for taking your licensing exams. So the knowledge you learn in these classes is super applicable to what you're going to be doing, like for your career, for your job. The classes at Bay are really, really in depth, and they go in all kinds of directions in terms of really specific information. And the coursework is designed to go along with the steps that you'd be learning as you're going through the career. Yeah. Yeah. So that's an awesome, thank you for bringing that up. So my mentor, Derek, in the back, what's really awesome about this program is they set up a mentorship program alongside it, and any of the staff throughout City Grand Rapids we could pick as a mentor. I resonated strongly with what a lot of the things Derek was saying, and I think he's a very smart and talented individual. So Derek has guided me along this pathway and really helped me understand what I'm going to in this field. Do you have anything to say, Derek? Or okay, yeah, true. Zach. Yeah, there's a lot of people retiring in this field soon, like a lot, and younger generation of people, there are a lot of people aging out of this, and there's so much room for growth right now, and it's really an industry where we need younger people to be interested in it, because without them, you know, how are we going to get our water? It's an issue that's arising as the older generation ages out, and we need more younger people who are involved in this. To answer your question. Yeah. At Wyoming, or? Okay. Well, I really enjoyed getting to see like all the internal workings of the plant. You know, once things were drained down, getting to go in with maintenance and look at how water gets from point A to point B. I thought that was really cool. I also really like at Wyoming the intricacies of operating the SCADA system. There's a lot of stuff to learn, and you know, those screens go several screens deep. You're clicking through a bunch of stuff, and you find how to get to parts of it faster and how to operate better and more efficiently. And that's really like developing that skill and progressing my knowledge base is really, really fun and really interesting. Are there any more questions? Sweet. Thank you.
Oh, man. Yo. Okay. All right. All right. Why are you looking at me like that? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Okay. My name is Derek Johnson. I've been a public health specialist. We need to get away from water operator. We're public health specialists. Y'all remember that? Seriously. I've been a public health specialist for the last 13 years. I got into this field. It was kind of, oh man, y'all, I'm so nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I got into this field just basically, I just walked in and asked to volunteer. I started going to GRCC for water purification, and one day I went up to the water department and I asked to volunteer, and it pretty much changed my whole life. And I definitely had a lot of help on the way with my man John Van Els right there, my wife, Hillary. Shoot, I mean, I don't know how many people that helped me along the way over the years. And it's been an amazing experience to, oh man, my wife told me don't get emotional. But going from where I was to where I'm at now, I mean, it's been amazing, you know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't necessarily the best guy, you know, and to have people really, to have people really take, yeah, man, I can't do this. How? Man, everything. I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, I'm making a difference. I like the whole science behind it, the math, knowing something that I feel like nobody else knows. You know, I mean, that was one of the biggest things when I got into this field was I wanted to do something that was unheard of and just different. You know, the doctor, the lawyer, all that good stuff, which is good, but I just wanted to do something different, and I found water purification, and I just took off with it, and I didn't even know that I was gonna really be that good at it, to be honest with you. And yeah, I mean, that tripped me out too, because I was able to grasp it, and a big shout out to City of Grand Rapids, for taking me under their wing, because I'm the first intern in my department. I'm the first black, and I am proud of that. I'm not gonna lie. And now I have my F2, S2 certifications in water and distribution. Thank you. I'm going for that F1 in the fall, so wish me luck. Wish me luck. Yeah, it's just been an amazing journey, y'all. And we really want to get more people involved in water, not just as a career, but just educating everybody. That's why Hillary, shout out to Hillary for real, because she put all this together. For real, she put all this together, and this is amazing, you know what I'm saying? But just wanted to educate people on their water, because, we've been getting a lot of scrutiny over the years, with the whole PFAS and the lead, and, so, we thought that it would just be a good thing to start this program, to start really educating people and just letting them know, like, we don't have anything to hide. We want y'all to come out, we want y'all to ask them questions. I think if the public really knew what we were doing, I don't think we would have as much, issues, I guess you could say, or questions, So, anybody that has never taken a tour of a water plant, please come out. Please come out. Call us, say we here for y'all, and yeah, that's about it. Any questions? Advice I would give is, I don't know, like one of the biggest things, just doing the best you can, and having that passion and having just a lot of, me, I got a lot of passion, you know. I ain't saying I'm the smartest dude, because I don't feel like I am, you know what I'm saying? But I'm willing to try, you know. I get nervous, I get scared sometimes, but I just keep trying to move forward. And these tests, the chemistry, the math, the state regulations, federal regulations, it's a lot, but you can do it. Seriously, you know, if I can do it, man, y'all definitely can do it. That's how I feel. Seriously. And be yourself, you know. Like, I feel like I'm not exactly the look, you know what I'm saying? But I know, but I want to tell people that, you know, like, because I've gotten that over the years, you know, or people look at me like, I ain't gonna lie, I done got people that said, hey man, what you do? You do the garbage? I'll be like, what? Like, nah, like, how should Nah, but I'm going, wait, but I gotta get better at this, y'all. But go ahead. How does it feel to go from being an intern to a mentor? Man, it's crazy. I ain't gonna lie. I really, man, it's just so amazing, you know what I'm saying? I really can't say too much, you know, but that, it's just been a crazy road from going to being you know, it's been a great experience. Go ahead. Greg Roush, y'all, I'm telling you, dude is amazing. I can't wait to get him over to my house. I got this light bulb I need to be changed. All right, go ahead. Okay. I'm pretty good at that. Okay, so basically a day, I come in, basically we exchange on what's going on, what happened in the plant that day. Then basically I look at my distribution system, which is our pumps, our high towers, our reservoirs. I look at the levels, make sure that's all good, and you know, if anything need to be filled, anything need to be cycled when it comes to your water. Also, I do a lot of lab tests on our water quality. I do back T tests on our water quality. Backwash filters, which is basically just washing filters. What else? Maintain the equipment around the plant, make sure it's operating correctly. Answer phone calls. Stuff happens, you know, come up with solutions to fix them, because the most important thing is making sure the public, y'all, us, is safe. You know what I'm saying? So being honest, you know, when you do mess up, you know, yeah, no problem. My day go fast. I ain't gonna lie, cause I really love my job. You know what I'm saying? I really love my job, you know what I'm saying? So it really goes fast. And I be playing music, so that helps a lot. Yeah, that helps a lot, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but it's fun though. It's fun, and it's just so much in this field. It's just so many areas you can really just tackle. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you got the chemistry, you got the math, you got the mechanics, you got, you know, like, you're dealing with computers, programming. I mean, it's so vast. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just so much that you can tackle and, you know what I'm saying? Like, have fun with. Cause I love, man, I'm telling you, I love this job, man. I be having fun, man. Seriously, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, thank you. Any more questions? Good, okay. All right, thank you.
All right, I don't know how I'm supposed to follow Derek over there. Give Derek another hand, everybody. All right, I'm Richie Garcia. I'm from the city of South Haven, and I am the drinking water superintendent. I don't know what it says up there. Yeah, I didn't prepare anything either. I'm going right off the hip. I did not choose this plan. I did not see myself being a drinking water superintendent at all. I was gonna design sneakers, so that's kind of funny. But now I'm in charge. I'm in charge of drinking water. City of South Haven, we serve probably about 7,000 people on the off season and close to 20,000 during the summertime because we're a tourist town. So whole lot of water. We do South Haven, we do City of Covert, and we do 2 townships around us. So yeah, my job's kind of important. Yeah. I mean, we operate a plant. I got 3 different water plant operators. They're all certified. They're all super awesome. I have the most diverse department in the city, which is really funny. Like, it's kind of cool to see. I don't know. We got 4 different water tanks. We hold a lot of water out there. And we monitor those. We control all those. We're in charge of some booster pump stations to make sure that the pressure's out there. I'm also involved in hiring people now. I don't know how I got in charge of that. I do a lot of interviews for the city, try to help with their diversity department, and it's kind of cool. We'll see if I can figure this out. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I can figure that out. So yeah, I used to draw sneakers back in the day. I love sneakers. I don't know if you can tell, I got some cool ones on right now. Yeah, you already know. But yeah, I used to, anytime I had free time, I had a pencil and paper and was drawing. So I had my mind decided that I was gonna go to school and be a sneaker designer. I was gonna work for Nike and take it over and do some cool stuff. And that didn't happen, no. I went to Lake Michigan College, community college in Benton Harbor, and I was going for arts. So I even took a lot of theater classes, a lot of 2D, 3D drawing, and then I transferred to Western and started doing automotive design and fashion design, because it's cool to be in fashion design. You get to see your artwork on everybody's bodies. It's kind of cool. I was paying out of my own pocket and found an opportunity at Whirlpool, the appliance department, the appliance company, yeah. So I worked for Whirlpool for like 7 years. Also not what I see myself doing. It was just, I fell right into that job. It was good money. It paid my bills. And it was okay. I mean, appliances. I know how to work on appliances, so I don't have to pay for somebody to come in my house and fix my dishwasher or something like that. I still got those skills. It's pretty good. But then they got too big for their britches, and I was the baby in my department. So then I started looking for stuff, and I fell into a water plant operator position. So in 2008, I got hired just as a utility worker for the city of South Haven and got all of my certifications too, and loved being a water plant operator. My minor in college was in chemistry, so that kind of rolled me right into it. I was able to work in the laboratory. That was super easy. I'm kind of a nerd with numbers, so I'm a little OCD about numbers and about, so yeah, you gotta make sure that everything's proper, that you're reporting to the state, so. And had every intention of just living my life as a water plant operator. And then our superintendent took a different position, and I had seniority. So I got asked if I would do it, and I like challenges. So I kind of just jumped right at it, and I was like, yeah, I could do this. Or if I don't, at least I tried, whatever. And then that kind of was perfect too. Stuff makes sense. I just, I have fun at my job. I have water plant operators I used to work with that work for me now, which is a little weird because they were my colleagues. So I kind of had a weird struggle with being their boss initially because they did everything I did. I wouldn't ask them to do something that I could just do myself. So they helped me kind of grow into this position. Yeah. I don't know what else I should tell you guys about myself. I'm not that interesting, in all honesty. I mean, you can ask Monica. She might think I'm a little bit interesting. She gives me a microphone. I've never met a what? I've never met a microphone I don't like. Yeah. I get super nervous in front of people on these microphones. I don't yell at conferences on microphones during auctions. I don't do that. Or maybe I do. Hillary thinks that I need to be talking in front of people. And she's probably right. I mean, whatever. She's right about a lot of things. And a stage. Normally I just walk around with a drink, with a beverage of sorts that is water-based. Yes. But yeah, I'm just having fun with life, in all honesty. A lot of people trusted in me to do the job of the water superintendent. So if they trust in me, why don't I try? You know what I mean? It's not something I ever saw myself doing, but I'm decent at it, and I have fun, and I take pride in what I do. So that's how I got to where I am today. I still draw sneakers every now and then. I end up buying more sneakers than I draw, though. But yeah, Derek's looking at him. He knows what I got. But yeah, I'll flip through one of these. Why do I love my job? I work right on the beach right here. I got 3 minutes. I didn't know I was gonna use this time up, man. That's cool. So I work in South Haven, right on the beach. The beach is right outside my window. It's super hard to go to work and look outside and see a beach and a pier. So yeah, that's literally outside my window. And then these are the people I work with. We had an ugly sweater party one time, and we have a real tight community. We have a real tight municipality. Everybody that works together in the city of South Haven kind of looks out for each other. We're all rooting for everybody to succeed. So it's a real good community. It's a real good municipality, and they make you feel important, and we try to make everybody that we work with feel important. So yeah, that's why I love my job. I guess if I could talk to my younger self who thought he wanted to draw sneakers all day long, I'll just say, just step out of your comfort zone. Do things that scare you a little bit if you get scared about stuff, and try not to be scared about them anymore. Yeah, just take risks, have fun. You only get one of these chances to live like this, so yeah, that's really all I got. And I got less than 3 minutes left, so I covered 7 minutes, y'all. Yeah. And I had to follow the best speaker today, talking about he wasn't ready. Bro, yeah, you knew what you was doing over there. Does anybody got questions? Oh, man. So my day mostly consists of making sure that my water operators got everything that they need. I go in, I got 3 guys that run the plant. I'm in charge of doing all the ordering of the laboratory stuff. So I have a guy that he keeps an eye on things in the lab for me. I'm in charge of their scheduling. So I come in and, I get requests for time off different times. I have reports. I have to speak to the state all the time. We are in control of a lot of our distribution. We have a distribution department, but we do all of our sampling. I got 1 minute left. Yeah, we do all of our own sampling and everything, so we're in charge of that. Like I said, I like to get my hands on everything, and I delegate a lot of stuff. I've been in this position for 6 years. So I've learned to not do things myself, but I still like to know about everything. So yeah, other than that, I mean, there's a lot of reporting. I get random calls. I'm never not on call, so yeah. Yeah. We're good? All right. Can't believe I took 10 minutes, but that's cool.
All right, let's give a round of applause for all of our drinking water industry speakers. This was amazing. So again, welcome everybody to Water Pool-ooza 2023. This is the first time we've ever done this event, so if you like it, please tell anyone in a Water Pool-ooza shirt, because we want to do this again. So hopefully GRCC and the City of Grand Rapids can partner once again on this type of event. So just to kind of give a little reminder, I want to say thank you to our sponsors. This wouldn't have been made possible today for sponsors, the US EPA and the City of Grand Rapids and the Grand Rapids Community College and Bay College. We all put together a grant for workforce recruitment and development in the water field. And so this is one of our many initiatives for this grant, and we're really excited for you all to join us here at our community gathering. So we also had sponsors, Fishback and Infrastructure Alternatives. Thank you very much for funding our Water Pool-ooza shirts. We really appreciate it. And Moore and Bruges Inc. for providing us gift cards for all of you to participate in our water activities. So please fill out your passport activity card and turn it in to our sign out table so that we can get your name for a drawing for a $25 gift card. We also have so many different activities going on today. So we've got the speaker series here on the main floor with the stage, yeah. And then at 11:30 right now, we have a rain barrel demonstration occurring right over to the side here. At 12 o'clock, 12 noon, we've got an edible aquifer activity. So if you are checking out the community partners or you're here at the speaker series and need a snack, then the edible aquifer activity is a great opportunity to get your sugar fix. So please check out our activities and participate. This is what we're asking for. Participate in our community partners up above who have so graciously spent their time creating hands-on activities for everyone. We have such a great turnout here. We've got 24 resource tables for everyone to check out. And then we also have, like I said, demonstrations here off to my right in the construction lab series. All right, so without further ado, let's talk about our wastewater industry speakers. We have a rock star lineup. First up is going to be Abby Cairns with the City of Grand Rapids wastewater team. She is an intern for our utility aid program with the City of Grand Rapids and Grand Rapids Community College and Bay College. She's absolutely amazing, so I'm sure that you'll learn lots from her. We've got Kevin Lynch with the City of Wyoming Wastewater Department. We've got Jamie Fleming, also with the City of Wyoming. She's kind of a duo drinking water and wastewater lab extraordinaire. And then we've got also Jared Grabinski with the City of Grand Rapids Wastewater, and Rachel Zivichinski, who is also a wastewater drinking water duo extraordinaire, to finish off our wastewater industry speakers. So without further ado, let's introduce and give a warm welcome to Abby.
Hi everyone, my name is Abigail Cairns and I work at the wastewater plant here in Grand Rapids. I'm an intern here doing the water program like Hillary had just said. And first things first, I just want to say I'm very grateful to be here. This opportunity I have I've been given to work in this industry is just, it's mind-blowing, and I'm extremely grateful. So at the wastewater plant, we treat any water that's been contaminated with fecal matter, with trash, plastic, chemicals, anything of that sort of matter, so we don't have to worry about toxic discharge into the receiving waters. We also maintain sewer stations. We call them lift stations. These are the these lift stations is what prevents, you know, sewage from coming back up into your homes and, you know, blockage and all that. And one of the things I love about my job is that it's got a variety to it. You don't just stay at the plant most of the time. Sometimes you go out and you go to these lift stations, like I said. Sometimes you work at a different part of the plant. You don't do the same thing every single day. Each day is different. So, one thing I wish I learned before I got out of high school was to just really ingrain these things in my head, like chemistry, algebra, keep all that there. But the nice thing is that with this program, you get to do the college work, so you get to practice on the math, you get to practice on the subjects, you get to practice on the chemistry. And so that's a nice one. And this job, you get the training. With this program, you get the job training that you need. You get the experience that you're required. Like, you know, most wastewater jobs, they want you to have a D license, and it's hard to get that D license if you can't get the experience you need in order to apply for it. So what's nice is that if you continue to do this program, you will get a certificate. And if you want to, you can take that further and get a college degree. Associates, bachelor's, and so far on. So, one thing I wish I told myself, if I could tell my younger self then, just have a continuing education. You know, don't just settle on one thing. Don't just have the goal of graduating from high school, get out, graduate from college, and get out. You know, because it's not like that. And, you know, you get told that your entire life that it's not like that, but it's one thing for it to actually hit you when you see it, and you just, it hits you. It hits you hard. And, you know, it's a real lesson. Another thing is that like Richie said, you know, I would tell my younger self to just step out of your comfort zone. Get used to doing things that make you feel uncomfortable. That way, when the great opportunities come, you can take those, and you won't have to be too nervous, but, you know, you're grabbing those opportunities. And, you know, it's, this program, it was a huge step into the unknown for me, but I'm glad I took it. And like I said, I am just extremely grateful. Why I love my job. One, it's irreplaceable. When COVID hit, you had a lot of people being let go. You had teachers being let go. You had customer service representatives being let go. You had people that work even in IT being let go. You don't have to worry about that here with water operations or wastewater operations, because, you know, people still go to the bathroom during a crisis, you know, duty calls, you gotta get to work. But like I said, another reason why I love my job is that, like I said, there's a variety. You don't have to stay in operations forever. You can move on to different things like IPP, safety coordinator for the wastewater plant or whatever. And you can even transition from wastewater to water and vice versa. And yeah, it's just a doorway into other careers. And, you know, it's once you get your foot in the door, you're really there. You don't have a whole lot to worry about. I mean, you know, it's wonderful. But also, the people at these wastewater plants and at these events are like one giant family. They're very friendly. They're very open. Everybody wants to come over and say hi. How are you? Where are you? You know, working right now. And you know, everybody's just been so wonderful. You know, it's like a second family. You know, more than I could have asked for. Does anyone have any questions? Yes. The value of having a mentor. For me, it's actually very valuable because talking to someone who's got a lot more experience than me, being able to give me advice on, you know, how to deal with something, how to deal with any people that are giving me issues, which thankfully hasn't happened yet. But also just being a really nice supporter, really kind supporter, especially during this program, which, like I said, to me is it felt like a big risk at the beginning, but, you know, I'm very happy with it. I am. So, yes. That's a great question. I wanted to choose water, but the drive, because of the location, was a lot. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think I would like wastewater at first. But I love it. I love working with poo water. No, you kind of come to understand the process of the chemistry. You've got bugs that take care of the PFAS, the ammonia, and you've got, you know, like with the wastewater plant, you've got the conversion of energy, and you're able to sell that. You're able to give back, which is nice. Yeah, I mean, it's also there's a lot more people there. All right, so yeah, yes. Mike Grenier. Yeah, Mike Grenier. He's gone. I mean, he moved away. He's not like passed on or something. But he said, you know, this rich? No. Fat and happy? Yes. Can't say no to that. Okay.
Hello, my name is Kevin Lynch. I'm from the city of Wyoming. I'm an environmental services inspector. And yeah, so I'll just talk a little bit about my career and what got me here where I am now. So my main job is I inspect industrial users throughout the community to make sure that whatever they're putting down the sewer system cannot negatively impact our treatment plant. Our treatment plant works on microorganisms treating the wastewater for us, so any kind of chemicals or things that go into the sewer system could hurt their ecosystem and make it so we can't treat the water very effectively anymore. So my main thing is industrial users, cross connections to make sure that the drinking water is protected from any kind of chemicals or anything like back siphonage or back pressure. And also I inspect biosolids application sites. So after the treatment plant has treated the water, the solids that come out of that are also treated and become biosolids, which is a valuable natural resource for farmers to use, which is strong in phosphorus, nitrogen, and zinc, and copper, and things like that. So my office setting is 50-50. I'm in the field a lot. I'm also at my desk a lot. So it's nice if it's really beautiful like it is today. I'll go check a couple industrial users and some farm fields and really enjoy the natural environment. But if it's a really cold, rainy day, I'll probably be behind my desk doing reports or looking through data and doing spreadsheets and things like that to better serve. So one of my favorite things is problem solving. And, you know, as a kid, I always liked to play video games. I still play video games. But, you know, as I started going through school, I found that I really enjoyed trying to solve a problem. And one of the things that I got to do as an operator at the city of Wyoming was to try and figure out, okay, what is affecting the treatment plant right now, and what can I change? Should I pump more? Should I pump less? Should we add more chemicals? Should we change the dissolved oxygen that's entering the aeration basins? So it was a lot of problem solving, and it was fun to try and piece together these puzzles and fix the problem. Well, now I'm in the field with industrial users, so if something's impacting the plant, I try to figure out who could be putting something in the sewer system that's doing this. Is it one source? Is it multiple sources? Are they doing it unknowingly? Most people that I interact with, they don't know that what they're doing could impact our plant negatively. And as soon as I get the knowledge to them and they understand, they want to do the right thing. They don't want to hurt the environment or our treatment plant. They want to do the right thing. And so it's a lot of knowledge. And so time management, we'll see if I'm good at that here with my 10 minutes. But like I said, communication skills. A lot, I work individually. Whether I'm out in the field inspecting by myself, I have to make the call. Is this the proper application for the backflow device that they have, or does it need to be changed? Or I can work with my team. I go back and I discuss what I saw in the field, or if we're having something impacting our plant. Right now, we're trying to track down something that could be harming our treatment system. So it takes me individually going and popping manholes, and it takes us as a team to sit down and discuss what could be causing this. Is this one industrial source, or is it multiple sources? It could be coming from a residence that we don't know is in there. So as the sewer system is like a giant tree, we start tracking out, and each limb is a different arm in the sewer system. And so it's a lot of fun to do that as a team to try and find where this issue could be coming. And there's a great picture of me. I just started recently attending Northern Michigan University, and so my wife took a first day of school picture of me. So my career path, as you've heard from basically everybody today, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So thankfully, my father was in the industry, and he said, why don't you go to Bay and take a 2-year degree in water resources management and see if you like that, or do something else. If anything, it's a great starting point. And right away, I thought, I didn't really want to do that. And so I went to Lake Michigan College for a year, and then I went to Bay. And as I got into the program, I found, wow, I really like this. This is fun. I get to look at microorganisms every day. I get to look at sewer systems and check places out. Some of the classes that I put on here were just basic chemistry, wastewater management, industrial solutions was my favorite class. And my professor, Larry Sundling, will give a talk later. But that class was awesome. We went twice a week, and we went to a different treatment plant or a different industry, whether it be the paper plant or the paper mill or a lumber industry, and we inspected their treatment systems. And it was really cool as we went through these classes, seeing how everybody treats water differently. And they're all trying to reach the end goal of discharging nicer water than what they produced. And then as I went to the city of Wyoming, they gave me everything I could to enhance my career. And so there was training courses, there were seminars, and they were more than willing to send me this. You know, you'll find this as in municipalities or private industries, they want to invest in their employees and see them advance their careers. And it's great. And then there's tons of opportunities, things like this. You know, the Water Pool-ooza, the city of Grand Rapids and the city of Wyoming have been great partners since their inceptions. And, you know, we're just really appreciative of being here. There's groups like the Michigan Water Environment Association, American Water Works, WEF, Michigan Public Service Institute. And then, you know, the city has graciously sent me to Northern Michigan to pay for my degree. It's you know, and you'll find that through many municipalities, they want to invest in their employees and these great opportunities to be members in different organizations. All these organizations want to see people in the water and wastewater industry excel, so they offer these classes and courses and these great networking events where you can see other people from the industry who have the same passion as you do, and they can enhance. It's really cool. I don't have advice for my younger self, but I have advice for you. You know, tour a treatment plant. Go check it out. See what it's all about. If you don't like that treatment plant, go to another one. See what that one's about. You know, go to a drinking water plant, go to a wastewater plant, go to an industry. These people want to show you what they do every day. They want to show you how their careers have excelled. As you've seen from everyone who's been up here today, nobody chose to go into this industry. We fell into it, and we love it, and here we are talking about it. Job shadow professional. I have my business card upstairs. Grab it. Call me. Let's see if we can set up an hour or two, and I'll show you around what I do every day. You know, think about what matters to you. As I was growing up, I was always in the environment. I was hunting, fishing, you know, boating, all these kind of things, and I never really thought about it. But now that I'm a little older and got some knowledge, I realize that we need to protect these things. And the number one way to protect the water system is to treat the water that we use every day. The average American uses 100 gallons of water a day. We need to treat that water so we can return it to the natural environment and recycle and reuse again. Work a seasonal position. Get your foot in the door a place, you know. If a position comes up for an operator and we're looking and nobody has a license, but hey, that guy who was a part-timer, he had a great work ethic. I think he could be a great employee. Let's bring him in and train him. And, you know, you got your foot in the door. You can prove what you want to do. And even if you don't decide you want to do that, you can see how the industry works and see if that's what you want to be in. Think about stability. Water and wastewater is never going away. We're going to be here forever. If anything, the industry is going to evolve even more, and we're going to need more people to learn how to treat the water and wastewater. There's always emerging contaminants, whether it be PFAS, microplastics, anything that's in the water we need to treat so that we can protect it. Pharmaceuticals is going to be big, you know, in the years coming. And think about the possibilities. These organizations have careers all over the world, all over the country. And, you know, that's one thing I would have done. If I was younger, you know, maybe right out of college, I would have went and took a career or took a job in the middle of Colorado mountains, you know, treating water and wastewater. Or I would have took one of those jobs that's in Saipan at a brand new wastewater plant and, you know, really helping these people begin their startups. And why I love my job? Things like this. I love interacting with the community. I love talking about what I do. They've given me the opportunity to live my life where I like to camp in my vintage camper with my family. Does anybody have any questions? I just got the minute mark. Yes, sir. Yeah, so it's solving puzzles. I like to figure out what's going on. My day in and day out can be drastically different. A lot of times I'll go out in the beginning of the morning and decide I'm going to inspect all these industries, and I have a giant list, and I get to about the third one and I get called because somebody noticed an oil sheen in one of the catch basins, and so then I start tracking that down, and it's a lot of fun, but every day is different, and it's just a great job. And the city of Wyoming has done all they can to excel my career and to send me to any kind of learning opportunities that is possible. Any more questions? Are we good? I'd like to introduce the next speaker, Jamie Fleming. She's a rock star, and you're going to love her.
That's not me, by the way, on the slide. I was supposed to put a picture. This little creature, her name is Millie Mole, and she is one of the, She's one of the mascots for the American Chemical Society, which is a group that you can join if you also are a chemistry nerd. She's just adorable. I have a couple of her little figures around my house. So I'm a lab manager. What does that mean? I lead teams of people who test water and wastewater. We need to do testing that tells us if water is safe to drink, whether it's safe to send out into the environment. We need to test the water all along the way through treatment to make sure that we know what we need to do it to make it safe. I work with my friend Kevin when he brings me samples from companies to test their water. So we have a team of 7 people between drinking water and wastewater in our laboratories. And I just love having the opportunity to lead them in the jobs that they do. What else do I need to do? I need to understand water science, because water science is the basis for everything that we do. I need to know how treatment works. I need to know things that make it safe in the environment, safe for you to drink. I need to understand new and upcoming things that we might need to be testing for and how we do that. I also answer questions about water. This is actually one of my favorite parts of my job. So if people have a question about their drinking water, they call me and I can talk to them. Maybe sometimes it's because it tastes a little different to them or it has a color to it. And so they'll call and I can answer questions about their water and help reassure them that it is safe once we treat it, that they can drink it. I spend most of my time nowadays working in an office. I started out in the laboratory, so I did more testing, but that's not my job anymore, just to kind of work with the people that are actually hands-on doing the testing. Every once in a while, I'm outside, and I'll be gathering samples or working alongside other people that are out in the field, and those are always fun days. Let's see, skills and likes and dislikes. Good at problem solving. And also need to be ready to continue to learn things, because several of the speakers have talked about, drinking water and wastewater treatment changes over time, and so need to be able to continue to learn what those new things are. Need science for sure, chemistry, biology, environmental science, those kinds of things, and some basic math skills. Math has gotten easier in the drinking water and wastewater world over the years as we have Google can answer a lot of questions for us. No shame in using resources. And then all about teamwork and building relationships, not only with the people that we work with, but also out with our residents and the people in the community. All right. Okay, so I had kind of a generic career pathway for people in the laboratory. I'll tell you a little bit about my story as it matches up with this. Chemistry, biology, algebra in high school. When I was in high school, environmental science wasn't a thing, but it is now, so I would encourage you, if this is something that you want to think about as a career, take those classes. It takes the science that you would learn in other general classes and focuses it as it's applied in the environment. What kinds of schooling do you need? Depends on what you want to do. So starting out, you might just need an associate's degree. I have an associate's degree, and I used it to figure out what I didn't want to do. I tried some computer science classes. I was terrible at those. So we gave up on that, and we went a different direction. I thought maybe I wanted to be a teacher, and then I realized that was going to be an extra year or two of school, and said, nope, not for me. I was really great at chemistry in high school, so I said, let's try that out. So went on to get a bachelor's degree in the laboratory. That's the most common degree that people will have to work for a drinking water or wastewater treatment plant. They'll have a biology degree or a chemistry degree, nowadays an environmental science degree. And then as I moved into leadership, I went on into graduate school, really just to learn about leadership, management, working with people, all of the things that I needed to grow my career there. So what can you do in a laboratory? You can do all kinds of things. You can come in without a degree or while you're in a community college program and be an aide, a laboratory aide. I did this while I was putting myself through school. I worked at the Van Andel Institute washing glassware. Yes, they need people whose only job is to wash glassware and deliver it to the laboratories. This is a thing, and it was a great job. I got to geek out on science by talking to the researchers there, even though my job was literally just washing dishes. Technicians, so these are the people that are doing testing. We have, like I said, we have 7 of them between our 2 treatment plants. There are also laboratories that are not part of a government organization. They're private. We have Trace Labs is one around here. Paragon Labs is on the other side of the state, so they also need technicians to do testing. You could be a chemist or a biologist, and you're focused more on how those sciences are applied to drinking water and wastewater. A data analyst, just looking at numbers. Data is fun, but if you got to figure out all the statistics and stuff, some people like that more than others. That's not my favorite part of it. I like to problem solve using the data, but deep dive into all of the geeky math stuff, not my forte. Obviously, we need managers to lead these groups to make sure that they have everything that they need to do their jobs. That is also a really important job. I say that because that's what I do. And there are researchers. There are plenty of people that are doing research about drinking water treatment, wastewater treatment, stuff in the environment. There are jobs all over in the research world, too. So advice for my younger self, or really for my younger friends in the room, school is great. I will always say, if you want to go to school and pursue a degree of some sort, go and do it. But experience is just as important. So join a club. If you are in middle school, high school, join your green team. Join up with your environmental science club. Out in the community, there are watershed groups that go out and do cleanups or test water. Join up with them and get a little experience that way. Connect with other people. And I think I thought I was being creative by saying just go for it, but I'm like the 4th person that I've heard that has said this now, so just dive in. Go out there, explore. I graduated with a chemistry degree and literally answered an ad, I'm gonna date myself here a little bit, in an actual newspaper, that I bought on a Sunday. And it was an advertisement for a drinking water plant laboratory. I didn't even know that these things existed or that they needed laboratory people to work there. So just kind of fell into it. So you all in this room are 1 step ahead of where I was. Also, you can't actually get a newspaper anymore, so there's that. And why do I love my job? Protecting human health, protecting the environment, and it puts together 2 things that I am passionate about and feel strongly about and really motivate me to do good work and fulfill me on a regular basis, which is working with the community. Drinking water and wastewater is provided to anybody that needs it, so everybody should have access to these things. And it also challenges my brain. So I get to combine the human side of things, serving my community, along with just geeking out on science, which is amazing. And I see I have 1 minute left, but I made it before the 1 minute mark, so. Any questions? Yes? Yeah. So we have different methods of testing. So you might go in and test for the pH of the water. You might do a test that turns the water sample a color based on how much of something is in there. So phosphorus is something that we test for. If we let too much phosphorus go out into the natural environment, think of Nemo in the fish tank when it turns all green, right? That can happen in the natural environment with too much phosphorus. So that test turns blue when we test the water, and the darker the blue, the more phosphorus that is there. So there's all kinds of different ways to do testing throughout the day. Any other questions? Awesome, thank you.
So good afternoon. My name is Jared Grabinski. I'm the ESD Environmental Services Manager, Assistant Manager. I'm down here at our wastewater treatment plant just down the road. I've been working there for 14 years. Started out as an operator in this industry. Been very happy with where I've come from and what I've been able to do. It has a lot of opportunities. Again, in the wastewater industry, we treat wastewater so it can become a renewable and a sustainable resource. I started when I was 20, and I've been there for 14 years now. I worked my way up through many different duties. I started out mowing the lawns in the place, kind of learned what we do there, the treatment processes, the name of the building, the plant, got to know some people, transitioned over into wastewater operator. I'd make the rounds of the plant, take samples, press buttons. It's really fun to play with our computer systems, right? We can open, close valves, gates, divert flow processes, start, stop pumps. So there's a lot of cool things you can do if you're interested in a water career industry. There's lots of options. Currently, I have 58 people underneath me at ESD, all great people. We support each other. We help each other learn. Again, the city will pay to send you to training and anything else you need to do to be able to excel in this industry, so it has a lot of potential. Again, right now I do office work, but I started out getting dirty and it was a lot more fun. So if you like doing different things every day, being outdoors, the water industry is where you'd like to be. Ooh, I need a clicker. Okay, so as far as education, you can get in the water industry, you can come from any number of backgrounds and still be able to succeed. I myself was homeschooled my whole school year, K through 12. I had done some community college for automotive technology. That was where my path was headed. I ended up getting a temporary job with the city, and then it just went from there. I learned it, I liked it, and I decided to join this career path. And it's only been able to grow from there. Like Kevin was saying earlier, there's lots of ways you can get into this, lots of paths of progression, lots of education that's available. You can go through organizations like MWEA, you can take online classes through MSU or Beta Knott College. All of them have a lot of opportunities and classes you can take to be able to excel in this career path. So the city is really great about assisting us with tuition reimbursement or sending us to these classes to where you can get your state wastewater licenses or water licenses, depending which side you're working on. I have an A-level license, the highest level license for wastewater, but it's taken me 14 years to get there. You keep learning more, you keep writing more tests. There's always people that are out there in the industry or in the city of Grand Rapids too has a lot of good people there that'll help you, mentor you, get you to where you need to be. Like I said, I've worked my way up through 9 different positions at the city to get to where I'm at. So there's lots of options for you if you were to get into the wastewater industry, say you don't like to do lab work or, no offense to the last speaker, but you can be in a lab, you can run tests. If you like your day-to-day to be routine, so if you're comfortable in that environment, that's an option. If you like to see a lot of different things, be outside, operator's a great option. If you're good with your hands and you're mechanically inclined, we got lots of mechanic positions to go out there and fix and troubleshoot all our pumps and our valves and our systems. There's another option also is our collection system asset technicians, our CSATs. They go out with big semi-trucks. If you like driving Tonka toys, right, maybe that's your thing. You can go around and clean out our collection system, jet our sewer lines, suck out catch basins that are along the street, the gutter. We clean all those out of dirt and debris and road dust. All that stuff is what we do to help the environment clean. So there's many different ways you can become part of the water or wastewater industry, and there's lots of options depending on what you like to do. So advice from my younger self would be, get more education while you can. Get involved in everything you have the capacity to do. Go out, volunteer in the water, wastewater organizations. Learn, go to conferences, get to know people. You can learn from them, they can learn from you. Every wastewater plant has a little bit different treatment processes and stuff that they do. There's just tons of different ways to be able to treat the wastewater based on your load, your size, the city you work in, your budget, capacity, whatever the case may be. Go out and talk to people and, go see those different places, see different ways of doing things, and maybe can help you troubleshoot something you're running into in your plant. It's always good things to do. And then always ask questions of your people you work for, people you meet. There's never too much information. I'm been doing this 14 years, I'm still learning every day. There's always something comes up, troubles that need figured out, whatever the case may be. So why I love my job, main reason is because I get to keep this environment safe right here. This is Lake Michigan, right? So I know that every day what I do and what my team does directly relates to keeping the Grand River clean, which then keeps Lake Michigan clean, which then means everybody in the city of Grand Rapids and Wyoming and everybody going towards the lake shore, city of Grand Rapids feeds water to all those communities coming down the line. And if I don't, do the proper job at the wastewater plant and my team, we don't keep that water clean, it can end up in the lake and it's harder for, the lake plant to treat it. Maybe they can't even, so it's very important to keep our environment safe. That's my favorite thing about the job is keeping our community safe, my family safe, So one thing that's interesting about the job is, the water, wastewater people, you're not going to make the news unless it's bad. Generally speaking, we only make the news when it's bad, so we don't like to do that. But we're the people you don't hear about all the time, right? Nobody thinks about us when they flush the toilet, goes down the drain, whatever. So it's very important, but we're kind of the heroes behind the scene, keeping the environment safe, keeping our families safe. So I think that's very important, gives me personal gratification. I enjoy my job, knowing every little thing I do makes a difference in our environment. So, wastewater, water, stormwater industries. I like working with the city. Like I said before, a lot of good people work, particularly ESD. I know I'm biased, but the city has a lot of great people, a lot of skill, a lot of passion for what they do. It's a great place to work and learn. One thing you might not know, if you've ever taken any FEMA classes, like for disaster management, utility workers, water workers, wastewater workers, we're considered first responders. So recent case in point is the recent ice storm we had a couple weeks back. The city of Kalamazoo had a state of emergency. We sent our people down to help them out. We had people from ESD picking up trees. We had people from forestry picking up trees. It's really just able to help each other out. The ambulance workers and firefighters are all important as well. But, if there's down trees, down power lines, they need us to go out and help them out with that so that they can be able to do their job as well. So, we all have our place. We're all very important, and it's just not something people generally think about. Your kids are all like, ooh, cool fire truck, but they don't think about the CSAT coming behind, right? Cleaning up the mess. But it is all very important. It's what I point out to my kids every day anyhow. So like I said, there's a lack of exposure in our industry. That's why we're here today, educating people, right, and sharing information amongst ourselves as well. It's very important what we do. All the improvements we've made to technology in the water, wastewater industries, all that affects the quality of water and people's health. Another thing people don't think about, a lot of people, the most exposure is we have, medicine and everything helps people live longer, right? We have people living longer than they generally did, 50, 60 years ago, 100 years ago. But it's not really the case. It's these people here today, right, that are keeping the stormwater runoff out of the lakes. It's cleaning the water that's coming out of the river. You're feeding into people's homes. It's us taking that wastewater and cleaning it up before we put it back in the lake. It's keeping the diseases out of the water that really has helped people stay healthier and live longer in recent years, and not big pharmaceuticals, but that's what they'll tell you because they have more money than we do to promote this. But that was something that they've always taught us that I found very important. Again, gives us a sense of satisfaction that we are doing something that really makes a big difference in the community. All right. So, appreciate your time. I don't have much else. I hate rambling. So, is there any questions? I knew I was going to have a heckler. You did tell me this. All right. All right. I don't know what the next big revolution is going to be. There's been a lot of advances in like online monitoring, modeling, so we can go ahead and test what certain things will do to the plant. All sorts of online data analyzers and stuff that we have. We're blessed at City of Grand Rapids. We have a budget enough to be able to play with these. That's really cool, so we can optimize processes, save energy, reduce our carbon footprint, whatever you want to call it. But one of the biggest challenges coming up is going to be microplastics and PFAS. So that's going to be a huge challenge for us. It's going to be a huge amount of our budget being able to treat it. So I don't know if that answers your question. Any other questions? Russ? Nobody has a question. This is way too easy. You got to have another one for me. Hillary, any questions?
Yes.
Yes, no?
So, we've got a bunch of great young people working with you at
Yeah,
Water.
we do.
What do you think is the most, tell us a rewarding story. Like, what is something that was like so rewarding in your work?
With them? Yes. So this past week I had interviews for an open wastewater operator spot. And one of the interns that we're working with interviewed for that spot. And in the interview he was telling us how he feels supported by my team. So that made me proud that my team's supporting him, teaching him what he needs to know. He was very passionate about doing a good job, and I want to say that he got that from our people already. He spoke that the science was very amazing. He used a cool word, but he liked the science. It was very intriguing to him, and he was interested in learning more about it. He's very excited when he got offered the job this week. I think it'll be a good find for us. And it also brings credence to the program that we're doing as far as educating people, getting them in, growing our own per se in Grand Rapids. There, that's her right there, Abigail. She's one of my interns right there, huh? Well, no, but I mean, you are one of my awesome interns, so I gotta give you props. Thank you much.
Hi, everyone. I'm Rachel Zivichinski. I'm a project engineer for the City of Grand Rapids Utility Engineering, which basically encompasses our water system, our sewer collection system, so our wastewater, as well as our stormwater system. So looking over here at the urban water cycle diagram that we have, I kind of live mostly in the infrastructure zone. So the pipes that distribute our clean water to our customers and the pipes that bring wastewater to our treatment plant, but then also the pipes that convey stormwater to our discharge points to the river. So that's where I kind of live, but as a project engineer, you get called on to a lot of jobs and you're sort of expected to know your whole system, and our whole system is the urban water cycle, so I also need to know a little bit enough to be dangerous about how we treat our water and how we treat our wastewater as well, and then the health of our source water, Lake Michigan, as well as the Grand River. So I touch a lot of areas in our urban water cycle, so I thought that was worth bringing up. But my main job duties are to first collaborate with other engineers and field staff to design and construct new water main and sewer main. So what does that mean? That means that I'm usually the only girl out on site with my hard hat, saying no to a bunch of field staff that have worked in the industry for 30 years and aren't okay with me telling them that they need to do something a different way, or that we need to have a project go in a different direction. So I definitely want to reiterate that it can be super challenging to try to coordinate with these different groups. Engineers and field staff are always working together to implement projects, so there has to be a lot of good communication and rapport with the field staff that we have. Maintaining our existing utility system. So the pipes that we have in our system right now, you don't see because a lot of them are, well, all of them are underground or under our roads. The only things that you see are what we call our surface features. So our fire hydrants, our manhole covers, and sometimes you don't even see them, but you definitely feel them when you drive over them and they kind of dip your car a little bit. So we're maintaining all of those assets to make sure that when we put them in the ground, they're going to stay there and be well kept up for their entire life cycle. With water main, our pipes last up to 75 years, but we still have pipe that we use that's from early 1900s, because as long as it's still in good shape, still running, there's no sense in putting that cost of replacing it onto our ratepayers if it's still working. So we're constantly looking to see what needs to be reconstructed, replaced. We do condition assessments on our water main and all of our sewer main as well. The sewer is a little bit more enjoyable. We get to drive little cars with cameras on them through the sewer system itself. And I wish I had a video on here, but that's what our televising crews are doing, is they're taking videos of entire sections of pipe. I get to watch them on my TV screen and I say, yeah, that is falling apart. We should definitely fix that before a road collapses. And it's cool to see, those videos happen, and then they become a project, and then we see that pipe get replaced and a nice road get put over it, and know that we're going to keep that section of road upkept and safe for our customers for years to come. So. And then lastly is understanding and implementing new treatment and asset management technologies. So like I said, knowing enough to be dangerous about our treatment technologies in wastewater and our drinking water. I try to go out to the different plants as much as I can. It was part of my education at Michigan State as an engineer or environmental engineer to learn those treatment processes, but I'm always trying to keep that fresh. So in case people have questions or issues arise, I can kind of keep up in conversations of how we treat our water and wastewater. So let's see. So work setting, I'm mostly in the office, 80%. That's my least favorite part. But the 20% that I do get to go out into the office is the best. I get to talk with our field staff, learn from them. It's always the joke, like I said, of, oh, you finally put your boots on and got to, climb into the hole and see what we're actually doing. We're really building the water system. We're really building the sewer system. Because really what I do in the office is kind of like designing the blueprints or the Lego instructions. And then our guys in the field, they're the ones actually building it. But that doesn't mean that there shouldn't be communication all the time. And like I said, I think it's healthy to have that good rapport between two groups to go out and see the completion of the process and go out in the field. So skill sets for project engineers, communication and teamwork, I think I touched on that a lot. Like I said, I have to say no, and I have to stand up to people that have way more field experience or just in general experience than me, but I have to be confident in what I'm saying to them. Do you think in processes or ask if there's a better way? I'm definitely always, wheels are turning, like, how can we do this more efficiently? How can we better manage our assets or track our assets? Are we really providing the best water or treating our water the best way that we can for our customers? And then being curious to learn new things and needing to learn them quick. I've been in this job for 2 years and I'm still learning every single day. The learning curve is astronomical. So I can't stress that enough. To be a project engineer, or I think just an engineer in general, you really have to know how to learn quickly. Oops, there we go. So how did I get here? I've only been in the professional world for a short amount of time, so high school, college are not too far behind me. If I can stress one thing about my high school experience, I did take a lot of AP classes, which you'll see up there. I was told to get pushed into the STEM classes, the calculus, the chemistry, biology. But I also knew that I wanted to take AP language. I wanted to take AP government. I was in orchestra. I was in student council. I was in theater. I didn't want my entire high school career to just be college prep. And I say that, and I want to communicate that because I think it's super important to be a well-rounded individual in any job that you take. It means you're relatable. It means that you can take the skills that you learned in AP language and write a great proposal. You can actually format an email or, we're always communicating through writing. I don't care who tells you. You're always going to write in every job that you need. So I think that was beneficial. And then AP government. In this industry, we are ruled by regulators and people who are telling us to meet certain standards for drinking water quality or the water that we send back to the river. It has to meet certain standards that the EPA, which is our federal, but also state regulators put forth. So we have to understand how government works. And then additional education requirements. So I did have to get a bachelor's in either civil or environmental engineering for this job to understand the hydraulics of things. But then some licenses after college that you'd be required to have are an engineering and training license, which I have currently, and then a professional engineering license, which I'm working towards right now. So I have some pictures of internships that I took during college. This was with SME, they're a materials tester. So the summer after my freshman year, I was a part of a 8-month co-op where I actually worked for, I think it was the fall semester after summer. So I was testing soil. You'll see here, I had just dug a ton of holes that day. It was like 90 degrees. I was also testing concrete as it got poured on site. And then I was also not driving an asphalt truck. That was not what I was supposed to be doing, but I was testing pavement as well. I had a couple other different internships, but since I'm short on time, if you have questions about other experience that I had, we can go through that together. But then advice for a younger me, any experience is good experience. And also you have to advocate for yourself, for your future that you want with your job. And also be thinking about the culture that you want in the job you take. So why do I love my job? First of all, outreach events like this are super great, and I get to be a part of them. This video here is part of the edible aquifer demonstration we did at the Public Works Camp. I might blow through that video if it's not working, but these are the kids drinking their edible aquifers after we constructed them. It's just super fun to do public education with this job. But then my second favorite is, I'll go back. This is a blueprint of the Fulton Market sewer relocation project that we just did. So I saw that project go from a piece of paper, how we were gonna replace this sewer that is literally taller than me, to being able to see it actually get built and take on all of the sewage from the city of Grand Rapids. So to see that happen, like I said, it's like building Legos. We get to see things go from paper to real life, and it's really interesting to follow. So I think I've used up all of my time, but if you have any questions, feel free to find me afterwards and I can answer them for you.
Welcome to Water Pool-ooza, everyone. If you are just joining us, welcome, welcome. We are super excited to have all of you here. So before I introduce the next speakers, I get to talk for like 4 or 5 minutes, so let's make it happen. This is our very first ever Water Pool-ooza event at Grand Rapids Community College, and we are so thankful for all of our community partners that have come and spent their time hosting water activities. So if we could give a round of applause to all of the volunteers and community partners. And let's just keep the clapping going because all of our speakers have been amazing. It's been absolutely fantastic. So we have a variety of different activities going on. But before I mention the activities, I want to say thank you to all of our sponsors. So this wouldn't have been made possible without the gracious support of our funders and sponsors. This whole entire event is because of a US EPA grant between Grand Rapids Community College, the City of Grand Rapids, and Bay College. And our focus is on workforce recruitment and infrastructure development for water and all of the careers in water. So there's so many different opportunities to get involved in water, and we are just very excited to share all of that with you. Also, I want to thank Fishbeck, Warren Brugink, and also Infrastructure Alternatives for funding some of our swag and prizes for you participants. So thank you very much to our sponsors. We have, like I said, a variety of different activities going on today. So right now, we're kicking off in the construction room over here. We have a rain barrel demonstration going on at 12:30. This will be the last rain barrel demonstration of today's activities. We are closing down shop at 2 o'clock. So make sure you check out all of the community partners that are upstairs. Get your stamp passport stamped and ready, and then turn it in at the sign-out table right by the exit. We want to make sure that you have an opportunity to earn a $25 gift card for participating today. At 1 o'clock, we're going to do our last edible aquifer activity. This is also located in the construction room over here with signs. So if you're interested in creating your own groundwater model with tasty treats, Please check that out. Fishbeck is hosting that activity. Alyssa Olson, our hydrogeologist expert, will be showing you how groundwater works. All right, so with that, let's bring on our next set of speakers, So we're gonna talk about jobs in water, but in the business realm. So water isn't just drinking water operators and groundwater. There's also a whole business side to it. And so we're gonna share different speakers throughout the industry. First up, we're gonna have Ty talk about his job with the City of Grand Rapids. Then we've got Kevin, our East Jordan Ironworks specialist. And then we've got Cheryl and Bonifer talking about the business nonprofit side. Cheryl is from Michigan Water Environmental Association, and Bonifer is with our Michigan American Waterworks Association, which are both great organizations for people in the water field. So without further ado, Ty, are you ready to take the challenge? All right, stage is all yours.
Here. Hi, everybody. My name is Ty. I am the Utilities Financial Analyst for the City of Grand Rapids. So as a Utilities Financial Analyst, I am the money guy for a couple of different departments. So water, sewer, but also parking, stormwater. Obviously, we're going to mostly focus on water today. So as a financial analyst, there are a couple of main responsibilities that I have. One of them is the annual rate study. So when you turn on your tap and you get water, you have to pay for that. That's because it's expensive to produce clean water, right? We have to pay for the pumping stations. We have to pay for the chemicals to treat that water. And so what we do every year is we put together this very thick report, heavy on math, that basically looks at how much it costs to provide clean water and sewage services. And then based on how much it costs, we determine how much we have to charge for that water. We're not trying to make a profit, we're just trying to keep the system solvent. Beyond that, we also every year have to put together a budget. So I work closely with department heads to put together a budget to determine here's how much we think we're gonna have to spend on chemicals. Here's how much we think we're gonna have to spend on labor. And then throughout the year, it's my job to be the bad guy and let the managers know if we're spending too much money, right? To keep us on that budget. And then I provide financial counsel. And I think that's a really important thing to point out. I'm an analyst, so I don't make those final decisions about what we choose to buy or how we choose to spend our money. My job is to give the managers the right information that they need so that they can make properly informed decisions. Nice thing about my job, I get to work in 4 different offices. So every single day of the week, I'm in a different place. Some days I'm at City Hall, some days I'm out at the sewage plants, and some days I am out at the water offices. And then the kind of skills and traits that make for a good financial analyst, pattern recognition and attention to detail are really big ones. A lot of your time is spent looking at data and at numbers and kind of identifying what trends are happening and how they're affecting water. So we might look at water consumption and see that this summer, for whatever reason, people are consuming more water. And so then we have to look into the data and examine why are people using more water? Oh, maybe it's because we've had a drier summer than previous years, so people need to water their lawns more. And so you're looking for those trends and trying to figure out what's driving them. It's important that you get along with people. Like Rachel pointed out, right, you need skills beyond just the technical. So it's important that you understand the finances, but you have to be able to communicate them. You have to be able to work with a bunch of different departments. And then curiosity. There's a lot to know here. The water system, the sewage system are complex systems, and so you have to have that curiosity to ask the questions of why. Not just what is going on, but why is it happening? So how did I get here? So in high school, if you are a high school student or you have high school students or kids that are going to be in high school soon, obviously finance, accounting, any sort of business class would be beneficial to take. But even as a broader framework, economics and civics are really important for you to understand what are the responsibilities of the city's water system? What obligations do we have? What powers do they have to charge fees or rates? And then as a bonus, obviously, just read as much as you can. I mean, for any type of position, your ability to absorb knowledge and to learn is super valuable. So just read as much as you can. Beyond that, for a financial analyst, we do ask that you have a bachelor's degree in some sort of business, accounting or finance, or economics. And then we also are looking for someone with a couple of years of experience. It's hard to learn all of this on the job, so we do want someone with a little experience. And for anyone in the audience, we are hiring a utilities financial analyst right now. So if you know anyone looking, shameless plug for that position. But once you're a financial analyst, there are a couple of routes you could go. Above financial analyst is the utility financial officer. She's the one that presents those rates to city commission every year. She makes a lot of those big money decisions. Beyond that, you've got the chief financial officer, right? Companies have a CFO that oversees all of their money. We also have one as a city. So that's kind of the peak of this career. If you're moving up this ladder, that's kind of the top of it. And then business managers, they are more focused on the operations of departments. So they will work with us on the budgets, but they also are in charge of the day-to-day. And then some advice that I would give for anyone from 4th grade to 12th grade, if you are trying to figure out what career you want, you probably hear all the time to pursue what you love. And that's good advice, but I think a helpful way to reframe it would be, what do you hate? What really bothers you? What do you look at and you say, that problem makes me so angry or upset? And then focus on what job you can do to fix that problem. I think that's a helpful way of reframing that question of what do I want to do when I grow up, is what problem do I want to solve when I grow up? So why do I love my job? So couple of pictures here. Grand Rapids, for a lot of you, probably were around in 2013 when the city flooded. A big part of what the water department does and the stormwater department does is helping prevent disasters like that, making sure that the water system doesn't overflow into the streets. Obviously, it's really important that we help provide clean water, but also at an affordable price. So you get to have a daily impact on people's lives. You really do make a difference in this department. And then you get to work on really cool projects. The city built these biodigesters that help turn your waste when you flush your toilet into renewable power. And so we're doing a lot of really cool things every year. And then obviously you get to work with great people that are here, not because of the money. Very few of us get into this field for the money, if any of us. Most of us do it because we care. And that means that you're working with really great people. And then there's job security. A few people have mentioned this before, but water is not going anywhere. Neither is sewage service. So that's something to keep in mind when you're considering occupations. And that's pretty much it. If anyone has any questions, yeah. Yeah, thanks for the question. So the question was, how did I get here from college? So I graduated college and I went to work for a private company. I worked for them for a couple of years, realized that it was a little draining to be working in the corporate world, and I wanted to work for the people. I wanted to get up every morning knowing that if I do a good job, it helps make people's lives better. So I decided to come back to Grand Rapids and apply for the position. I didn't have like a foot in the door or anything. We really are, the city is excited to take anyone that wants to work with us. So, any other questions? I love you too, Jared. If you do have questions or you want to learn more about what it's like to work for the city, I'll be around. My email's up there. Find me on LinkedIn for all you young people. So yeah, thanks guys.
Hello everybody, I'm Kevin Spihalski. And I am a sales rep for EJ. We used to be East Jordan Iron Works. You've probably seen the fire hydrants and all the manhole castings and everything all around. I'm not sure how many of you have traveled too far away from Michigan, but we are now all over the world. Our newest foundry is up in East Jordan. That opened 3 years ago. Before that, the next oldest foundry would be in Oklahoma. That just opened in 2001. And then our biggest foundry is in France. But they all essentially make the same things. My main job duties would be to educate and train, mostly city guys, a lot of contractors or events like this a lot of times. I just did a 3-4 hour training session with the City of Grand Rapids Water Department just a week ago. A lot of the water workers require continuing ed credits, and so a lot of what I do is working with people on that. I work with engineers and either with the city or private engineers on specifying products. And then it says scheduled deliveries, but basically the rest of the whole sales process from quoting to selling to then delivering everything that we make. I do office and field work, depending on the time of year, depending on the weather. I try not to schedule fire hydrant fixes with city guys when it's going to be cold or wet out, so we usually shoot for a nice sunny day and to do our outdoor work, but sometimes you just got to deal with whatever skills that are helpful. You got to be, at least for sales in general, being an extrovert, just being able to go in and talk to anybody. I talk to strangers almost every single day and then eventually develop relationships with a lot of them. Got to be curious. I think it's been mentioned by almost everybody here. You have to want to learn more about it. I didn't know anything about the water system before I started doing it. And when I first started in sales with our company, I was actually down in our Oklahoma yard where we didn't sell hydrants or valves. It was just the castings. So it wasn't until I came up to Grand Rapids about 2014 that I actually got into the water system and had to then learn that. And I would say it took a good year, 2 years before you're really comfortable even talking about it. And then, especially for a lot of our sales guys that deal with contractors, being calm in stressful situations is always helpful. I prefer, and I deal mostly with municipalities and cities. They tend to be a little less stressful than contractors, especially when you're getting towards the end of summer or construction season. Everyone is anxious to get the job done, get their check, get their money, and move on to the next one. Oops. So yeah, basic sales. I mean, you don't really need a whole lot. It depends on what you're going into. High school, just basic courses, nothing special. I went to small high school up in Gaylord. I wish I had known back then that I did not need a 4-year degree for a good job. But because I didn't know that then, right out of high school, my first summer, I was working in the grind room as summer help. Our industry tends to require higher inventory levels during construction season, and because it takes a lot to make our stuff, we have to plan ahead. We can't just turn the capacity up today and it happens tomorrow. It takes months of preparing for that. So usually in the summer, our foundry have an additional 100 or so workers, a lot of college kids. But so yeah, I went to Michigan State, got a human biology degree, and now I sell fire hydrants and manhole castings. So it doesn't really matter. I wish I would have saved all that money that I am still paying for that degree and just went right to work. But like I said, I started in the foundry up there. I worked in the summers, and then after I graduated from Michigan State, I went back to working in the foundry because it's a paycheck. It was a good paycheck, and I needed something. When I graduated Michigan State, there really weren't a whole lot of jobs in Michigan in general. It was 2011. And so when I took a job, actually I got out of college and I studied and took the LSAT. I was planning on either going back to law school or find a job. I ended up taking the sales job down in Oklahoma, was there for about 3 years, learned castings. And my territory down there would have gone from Albuquerque up to Kansas City and then Dallas to St. Louis. So it was a massive territory. Really just dealing with distributors in the biggest cities in that market. And so now if you look at the territory here, we have a yard here in Wyoming that covers just basically west and northern Michigan. But in Oklahoma, we cover 12 different states. We've been in Michigan a lot longer, so we have a need to call on all of these cities. We have a lot more products in the ground up here, closer to our home base. Oops. When you said pictures were good for why I love my job, I wanted to say the people, everyone that I work with on a day-to-day basis, because I'm not out there trying to sell you guys as much as possible. My stuff shouldn't be breaking once you buy it, ideally. So I just like dealing with people. That's what I enjoy doing best, going and either meeting new people or keeping relationships. And a lot of the people that are around here maybe started as strangers, but now we go golfing together, we do fishing, we do a lot of events outside of work. But the funny thing was, I was going to look for pictures of the people I work with. We don't normally fix a hydrant and then stand together and take a picture of it right there. We're all dirty, we're done with work for the day, so we take off. So the only pictures I have with the people I've met along the ways are when we're out doing fun stuff. There's a handful of these people that are actually here now that I've seen around, but just talking with people, trying to help people do their job, making their life a little easier is really the biggest thing I try to do on a day-to-day basis. Questions? Yes.
What does a career path look like moving forward for someone in a sales position? Is there a promotion, or is it you just get moved to a different sales territory?
For the most part, so when I went to Oklahoma, I would have started as an inside sales. So I was basically, I had a desk, I was answering the phone, or customers would come in and say, I need this or this, but I was never leaving the office. So now I'm outside sales, so now I'm actually going out to the customers and calling on them regularly and seeing what they need. But so that would be a gradual progression. Entry level would tend to be inside sales, dealing with, processing the orders and scheduling things. Versus outside going out and having a specific customer base or location. And so that's kind of the big step up. Now, beyond if I were to go up at all, then it would turn into managing salesmen, basically. I like the job I have. When I came back to Michigan in 2014, I had my area. It was Grand Rapids down 131 in southwest corner of Michigan. And I had that for about a year and a half, 2 years, and then our office manager decided to leave and take another job, and I didn't want to go take that job, but I was told it would be good if I did, so I did. I did my 2-3 years as office manager, and then just a couple years ago, I was given my territory back. So I was very happy about that. We just lost didn't lose, he's fine, he retired. But Carl Barber, who had been with us for a couple of decades, finally retired about a year and a half ago, and his area had always been east of 131 over to Lansing. So when he retired, I really just doubled my area. So my area now is Lansing to Grand Rapids, Lansing down to Coldwater, and then still southwest corner. Mostly municipalities. My first tour as outside salesman, I dealt with a lot of contractors. Luckily, when I went back out, we had hired another sales rep who had taken over the contractors. So thankfully, as far as I'm concerned, I'm much happier dealing with the municipalities. You guys don't tend to wait until you needed it yesterday to call and yell that you need something, and it's a little easier. Any other questions? We are also hiring us. Well, you got me back on that. If anyone wants to go live up around East Jordan, we have a brand new foundry up there. Paycheck is good, cost of living is low. Anything else? Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Cheryl Vosberg, and I am the Executive Director for the Michigan Water Environment Association. I've done a lot of water festivals over my years, and I love things like the Water Pool-ooza, so I'm really thankful to be asked to participate today. So the Michigan Water Environment Association, I've been a member there. I am currently a staff person, as I said, the executive director, but I've been a member with the association for about 35 years. So I would kind of consider our association to be something akin to a trade association for water professionals. So we do a lot of things like providing education and networking and training for water and wastewater operators. I think that my main job duty is to be a vision caster. So we are a nonprofit, so I work with a board of directors, and we have a vision to be the recognized authority on and advocate for Michigan's water resources. So that's an important mission, and I feel very lucky to be part of an organization for my entire career that focuses on, this mission-driven kind of purpose. One of the things that I spend a lot of my time doing is trying to foster and facilitate member engagement. So we have somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 members in the state of Michigan. We belong to a parent organization called the Water Environment Federation, and there are many states that have member associations like ours or regional associations that are part of this larger international organization. So our members do a lot of the work. We exist because of our members. So they come together, they do networking, we do a lot of advocating and keeping up on current topics and things like that. So we're trying to enhance the professionalism of people in the water industry profession. Let's see, I am a nonprofit director, so I do all the things that are associated with that. We have 5 staff members, we have a facility that we take care of, and then we facilitate a lot of educational opportunities, seminars, conferences, things like that. I mainly work in an office, but I often work at our events throughout the year, and we have many, so I'm often on the road at events. I think the most helpful, I guess you would call it a skill that I have that I think is needed to do a job like mine is to have some passion for what you do, right? And some purpose. So those are at the top of my list, and I've developed that passion over all the years of my career. And I work with a lot of people who have similar passions, and that's one of the things I like most about my job. We have to be kind of self-motivated in a nonprofit world to keep things going, and working with our members who are also self-motivated because they have similar passions for protecting water resources. Another skill that's really important, and I think it's important in the nonprofit world, but it's also important for pretty much anybody in any industry, and that is networking. So the value of networking is very important in so many ways. I've met a lot of mentors in my personal life through networking, through being part of an association, a professional association like ours. And something I have worked on kind of my whole life and been able to polish a little bit during my time is public speaking skills. That's one of those things that's kind of outside of the comfort zone for a lot of people. So when you're in a professional organization like this, you maybe get some opportunities to do some public speaking that you wouldn't get in your own job. So in high school, like with many people, I didn't know what I wanted to do for a living, but I knew that I liked the sciences, so I took a lot of math and sciences. And then I went to Western Michigan University, and I graduated there with a degree a bachelor's degree in biology and chemistry. And right from there, I got a job working at a wastewater treatment plant. And back in those days, I got my job from a piece of paper that was hanging on a bulletin board. So it's a little bit different than the way people approach looking for jobs these days. But I got a job at the Benton Harbor St. Joe wastewater treatment plant doing industrial pretreatment. And from there, I worked for several different municipalities over the years. And so for about 20, 30 years, I worked for municipalities. And then I worked as an executive director for a watershed council, and now kind of my dream job working for the Michigan Water Environment Association. So as far as like career opportunities go, I think what's really been beneficial to me, and the MWEA has really played an important part in this, is the opportunity to network with other people and to be open to opportunities when they present themselves. And you have to kind of be looking for opportunities, but also be prepared and willing to accept opportunities when they come your way. If I could give myself some advice as a younger me, I would say be a little bit bolder in my choices. Believe in myself a little bit more. And something I've become better at as an older person that I wish I'd known when I was younger is to be more intentional about growth and about my opportunities to grow in my career. Skipped one. All right, so why I like my job. Again, our mission is to be recognized as the authority on and advocate for Michigan water resources, and that is a passion that I have, elevated over the, length of my career. And so what I like most about my job is working with other people who have a passion for what we do. So it's an entire organization, the job I have now, of people with, this similar passion. Being part of a professional organization like ours really is something that I felt was career enhancing, networking with other professionals. And I think that's something that an organization like ours really provides for people. And the networking opportunities, again, are just critical to career development. But mostly what I like about my job, and I tell people all the time when I have an opportunity to talk to people, I have the best job in the world because I have a job that makes a difference. We are in the business of protecting water resources, and in the long run, perhaps there's no job more important than that, because water is life. And so we have a very important role to play, especially in Michigan, where we're surrounded by so much water to protect. So I guess that's about it for me. This is a picture of myself and Bonifer, and Bonifer's with the AWWA and our Government Affairs Committee, Greg Kaczynski. We recently went to a meeting at the Capitol, and so we do spend a lot of time advocating on water policy, and I think that's an important part of my role as well that I really enjoy. So I guess that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. I was glad to be here.
So my name is Bonifer Ballard. I'm the Executive Director of the Michigan section of the American Water Works Association. We are an organization, AWWA is an organization that has about 50,000 members around the world. Here in Michigan, Michigan's chapter is the 7th largest chapter in AWWA. I joined the organization in 2014 as the Executive Director. I was the first paid staff. My main responsibilities are running the business. As Cheryl said just a little while ago, as a nonprofit organization, we are still a business. I like to tell people a nonprofit status is a tax status, not a business model. So we still have a business to run. But I spend a lot of my time on strategy, working with our board of trustees, building partnerships like with MWA, and also program development, making sure that we're offering programs and services to our members to make that membership experience valuable. I do work from home. We actually just got a very tiny office just south of downtown Grand Rapids. So that's kind of exciting for us, but it's really small, like maybe the size of this stage. So it's really just used for us to sort of hot desk when we're in town. The skills that I use most are people skills. I do a lot of interacting with people. I spend a lot of time on email, on the phone, visiting people in person. I do a lot of problem solving. There always seems to be a fire to put out. And analyzing things. So whether it's our finances or the environment, working with the board on making sure we're addressing the needs of the membership. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to take you through a little bit of a career pathway for what an association professional would need, and then I'll tell you my story a little bit. High school, really basic classes, graduate, that's really all you need. I personally didn't have any advanced placement classes, didn't really want to be in high school, so it was good that I finished. Additional education for a nonprofit manager, bachelor's is helpful, but certainly not required. If you want to elevate throughout the career, then you definitely need a master's degree. There's a lot of opportunity to learn on the job. Most people, similar to the water field that you've heard today, most people kind of fall into nonprofit management. I don't know many people who actually went to college to be in nonprofit management. So definitely a lot of learning on the job. There's also a lot of professional development by joining an association for nonprofit managers. So that's another way to get education. Networking is a big thing, joining an association, being mentored, and then of course going for your certification. Career opportunities, it's like any other business, basic office, finance, sales and marketing, those kinds of things. There are some aspects of nonprofit management, depending on the kind of nonprofit that you're working with, that will take technical skills. So for example, AWWA actually does have chemists, engineers, biologists on staff. They do a little bit different, more technical kinds of programs and services for members. Advice I would have given anyone really, myself or anyone thinking about getting into the nonprofit field, just don't take no for an answer. Don't let anyone tell you that something is impossible. There's always a way to get it done. So a little bit about my story, if I can get this going. And I'm gonna race through this because otherwise we'll be here forever. I did graduate from high school. I had no idea what I wanted to do after high school. I honestly didn't think I'd finish high school. So I had no plan at all. So I joined the Navy at 17, celebrated my 18th birthday in boot camp, did 4.5 years in the Navy, was a great way to grow up. That's actually where I learned my analysis skills. I was an analyst. After the Navy, I got a job as an admin assistant at a healthcare education company. That lasted until I got a little too big for my britches and got fired and ended up going back to college. So I finally decided that it was time to get an education, went to my local community college, got an associate's degree. I actually had this illusion that I was gonna be a doctor, go from no plan to trying to be a doctor. But ended up, reality set in at 28, I'm not gonna go to medical school. So I also ran out of money, had to get a job, ended up at an association, had no idea what an association was. This particular company actually managed multiple associations. One of my clients was the Michigan School Food Service Association. Who knew there was an association for lunch ladies? But there is. There's an association for everything. So that really led to what became my career in association management. I ended up with a healthcare IT association, which really started to light my fire with this. There, I grew with that company, started in sales and marketing, ended up getting offered a director job there, so sort of middle management. But in order to give me the job, they made me promise to get my bachelor's degree. So I went back to school again, got my bachelor's degree, ended up very quickly after I graduated getting recruited to an organization in Chicago, a true charity, doing human rights work. That was really fulfilling, but very taxing. I am definitely an empath, so telling the story of people that were in really bad shape, like I did that for 5 years, that was enough for me. So I had to do something else. Believe it or not, Cancer Foundation was actually a relief. But at the Cancer Foundation, I did fundraising. So I was still doing marketing, did a little more marketing, did some fundraising, learned a little bit about that. I ended up going back for my master's degree, partially because I was getting bored at the foundation, ended up at an education foundation, and ultimately, because of that master's degree, if I can get this to go, I ended up at the American Nuclear Society. I mention that because that's really where I finally figured out that all those jobs equaled a career. It never occurred to me that I was a professional that had a career until I got to the American Nuclear Society. An amazing job, I love that job. 2 years in, my husband came home one day and said, I hate it here, I want to leave. So we moved back to Michigan, and I was lucky enough to almost literally fall in the water. Maybe? There we go. And this is now my dream job. It's kind of amazing the similarities between the American Nuclear Society and the American Water Works Association. Why do I love my job? It's the flexibility, the creativity, making a difference. You've heard it before. We're all here to protect public health. That I am a person of service. That is my passion. But a lot of it, we can't forget about the having fun part. My team is pretty amazing. This is my team, and it's really the people that make it fun. In addition to my team, though, it's important for me to point out that it's really about the members and all the work that the members do. So this, hopefully, I'm actually going to zip through this because this will take a little time. We do a number of things. Obviously, these are a couple of pictures of classes where we had work groups. We actually did a customer service class in Grand Rapids a couple of years ago. I think this is our, might be basic chemistry class, maybe. A meeting for lead in pipes. This is when the lead and copper rule is being discussed. What do we got? Leadership retreat. So a lot of opportunity for volunteers to interact with each other. Obviously, we put on conferences. We'll race through these a little bit. There we go. We also fundraise. Yes, I'm in a motorcycle club. That's mine in the middle. It was a lot of fun. Networking. There's a lot of learning that happens during the networking process. You don't always need to drink beer, but it always helps. We're almost there. The best tasting water, we do competitions, so finding out who the best tasting water in Michigan is, currently it's the Plainfield Township. And we're almost there. We also have staff and volunteers that work behind the scenes at all of our events. That's really important. We would not be successful without our volunteers. Big show for February, Joint Expo and Operators Day. Hopefully we'll be doing something like this next year at Joint Expo. We also do a lot of policy work, so we work together with MWA on policy here in the state. We also have activities in DC. Most recently, we've been involved with Senator Stephanie Chang on water affordability, and all those meetings are virtual. So that is it. Just to reiterate, don't let anybody tell you that something is impossible. That's it. Any questions? I think we got 30 seconds. Okay.
All right. So, welcome to Water Pool-ooza. We've got here, doors are closing in about 40 minutes. So this is the last little bit to get in with the action. So upstairs, we have community partners. Again, fill out your activity passport card for your chance to win a $25 gift card from some type of establishment. We have a variety of different ones. You also might have a chance, if they're still doing it, there's an edible aquifer activity maybe in the works right now. If you wanted to swing back here into the construction lab, go for it. So we've got 40 minutes and we've got a couple more speakers to finish out everything. So thank you all for being here. I want to thank all of the participants. That is our volunteers. That is all of our community partners, but also all of our attendees. You guys have made this possible. This event wouldn't have happened without people showing up. So thank you very much for everything. I really appreciate it. This wouldn't have been made possible without funding partners. So if you've been here for a couple hours, you probably have heard the same spiel. But if you're new, I need to thank my sponsors that have helped make this possible. We've got Infrastructure Alternatives Incorporated and Fishback. Thank you for the Water Pool-ooza shirts. Everybody who is participating in today should be getting a shirt if you are a volunteer or a community partner. We have a few left. There's also, I want to thank Moore and Brugink for our gift cards. So they were able to donate $500 for community, for this event, 4 gift cards. So we have 10 $25 gift cards available for today's event, and 10 were donated for our February event. So thank you to our sponsors there. This event was made possible because of a US EPA grant that we have with Bay College, Grand Rapids Community College, and the City of Grand Rapids. Our focus is on workforce development, recruitment, and infrastructure for the water field. So that's both in the water and wastewater industries. So today we're exploring careers, we're exploring ways that you can be a water champion. Make sure you sign the pledge to be a water champion. So I'm talking to all community partners and attendees. We've got a board where you can sign your name just to make that pledge to be a water champion. So without further ado, I think I'm going to talk about activities. There's a lot going on. Go upstairs, check out the activities there. And without further ado, let's talk about our last set of speakers. These individuals are absolutely amazing, and they will be focusing on education and certification for water and wastewater in our state of Michigan, our lovely state. First up will be Larry Sundling. He's with Bay College, and he is one of the reasons why our program, our water career program with Grand Rapids Community College, Bay College, and Grand Rapids Water System is where it's at today. So Larry will be up first, and then we've got the amazing team of Alyssa and Corin Carpenter. They both work for Eagle, Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy, and they work in the certification department realm for our wastewater and drinking water operators. So they are going to be sharing their story and career paths and sharing the passion with you. So if you're interested in a career in water, please listen to our speakers coming up, and they're rock stars. So, Larry, are you ready to take the mic? You're gonna make this happen. All right, thank you.
Okay, my name is Larry Sundling. I am an adjunct instructor at Bay Community College. I represent the water and wastewater program that's been around since like 1970. The program was incorporated by an individual named Kenneth Mackey back then, and we've been in existence for almost 53 years now. We are I believe, the only school currently that does have a water and wastewater treatment program. Up, a little higher, a little bit, okay. I'm used to, in the classroom, I'm a loudspeaker anyway, okay? So, but we've been around for a long time, and we focus on water and wastewater operations. Our students in the program, as we're all aware, are represented here at this little event right now. And how I got in the program is, my story is a little bit different. I'm a non-traditional student. When I got out of high school, I was planning on going to Northern Michigan University to play football and seek some kind of an education degree back then, okay? Well, life issues came into play, and I actually ended up working at a local paper mill for about 7 years before I made a decision to go back to school. Being college preparatory, I know a lot of students now are in that transitional mode, that I started taking classes at Bay College and building my skill set again. Taking math and science courses and all the preparatory work, okay? At that point, I really got burned out working in a factory. So one evening, I made a decision to join the United States Army and refocus myself to where I wanted to be when I came back from my service. When I came back from my service, I actually went back to Bay College and got into the water resource management program, okay? From that point forward, my career as a water and wastewater operator has been phenomenal. I can respect what people are doing right now, but having a program like Bay College really promoted me to be the best I can be. Once I graduated from Bay College, I actually worked down here in Benton Harbor, St. Joseph area for a couple of years, working for Earth Technologies, which is now Infrastructure Alternatives. They gave me a lot of opportunity to be able to take my experience with the Bay College program and move up the chain of command. I ended up going to Wisconsin, working for a large chemical manufacturing facility, doing IPP work, and then transitioned to another company where I did a lot of paper mill chemical applications and technical services work. And by chance, back in 2004, Troy Gallagher, who was the current instructor at Bay College, was looking for a teaching assistant. And my wife at the time told me, why don't you just apply for it? You're good at what you do. So I did the interview process, and Troy Gallagher hired me as a teaching assistant back in 2004, and now I've been with the program for 18 years. I've held positions as adjunct instructor in both water and wastewater operations. I do laboratory work with both water and wastewater. I do supplemental instruction, which is a very, very key part of the program. Supplemental instruction for the current students is something that you really want to get into, because giving them that additional help or assistance when they need or they are struggling is a key point to what we do on Bay College's campus, okay? I can't stress communications and team building. Organization is very, very important, all right? And in our field, mechanical skills and problem solving, being able to critically think and teach students to be able to use this upstairs to look at a problem and step by step solve what you're trying to solve for, okay? Let's click right, okay. Like I say, high school, I've been on through this stuff, I'm not gonna go through that. It's not about me, it's about my students, okay? I'm always that way. It's not about me, it's about my students. One thing, what I love about my job is those kids right there. Each year we take a group of students down to Lansing for the Joint Expo, which Bonhoeffer's a big part of right now. And we allow them to meet with vendors and do a lot of variety of activities. The roundtable discussion, these guys, I shouldn't say guys, but this group was phenomenal in the roundtable discussion, okay? I want to keep that going in the future with that Joint Expo. We had a good Joint Expo roundtable discussion this year. I think that's something that's very, very important to keep these young people involved in our industry. Bay College is a small campus. We have about 1,750 students on the campus. We are about the students. We are about making those students successful, okay? I'm an older individual, but I've got younger kids, so I'm kind of experienced with the 20 to 24 age group right now. But Bay College offers a lot of opportunity, not just in our program, but just the overall college experience, okay? We're very, 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 very proactive in keeping them active. Why water? Well, we have already talked about this, about public health and environmental health. You know, we got to protect our individuals who use our water supplies. We also got to protect the environment where we discharge our water from wastewater plants and protect that aspect. We have courses that are offered online. We do hybrid courses. We do a lot of interactive stuff with online right now. We are transitioning, but I think it's a great way for us to start expanding our program throughout the state and actually hopefully throughout the country in the near future. All right? Again, our graduates, they're in high demand. I've talked to many here today already that have been in the field for 8, 10 years, some that are just coming out of the program going into the field. They are very, very enthusiastic about what they do. We have a couple different programs. We have an AAS, which is the associate's degree, and we also have a certificate program. I like pushing the students toward the associate's degree because it also gives them the opportunity, if they want to progress into the water and wastewater field, they can take university credit courses and maybe get their bachelor's degree in some discipline, all right? And the big thing is they can go anywhere in the world to work. We get students that have traveled the world, working in Europe, working in Saudi Arabia, working in the Middle East, working in South America, working all over the country. Yeah, we have a great influence in the state of Michigan and Wisconsin, but we spread the students all over the place. Great pay. Yeah, great pay. It's often said to me is, why am I doing what I'm doing where I could be making more money? It's not about the money to me, it's about giving the kids an opportunity to be successful in a chosen career, okay? Career paths with water and wastewater, well, we all know that. We got municipal operations. My background's in industrial wastewater operations. You got food and beverage. We got students that work down in Atlanta, Georgia at the Coca-Cola bottling facility doing water treatment down there. That was really cool to hear from him. Plant managers, supervisors. With the Bay College AES and certification increases in level, you can become managers. You can become supervisors. We have a lot of students over the past years that become superintendents of various municipalities. There's a variety of avenues that each one can choose if they so choose or desire to, all right? Our program, well, we're well known. I'm not going to get too much into the program. A lot of you already know what we do. We are stringent. We want students to learn about the field. We want students to take it in sequence too. I see a lot of college kids right now that want to start taking classes, but they want to jump all over the place and out of sequence, and it hurts them. And our program is designed to stay in sequence because you build upon each level of knowledge base as you progress through the program. And in the end, you get to do a 4-week co-op or an internship at a water and wastewater facility. So all that information that you gathered in 2 years is very, very fundamental for what you can be doing in the field. Certificate program, that's a 1-year program that will get you the good background and knowledge you need to be able to get an entry-level position. It does not qualify you for the state of Michigan certification exams, though, all right? We have a few students who do this, and I've seen that once they completed this one, they decide they want to go to the AAS and get that associate's degree also, okay? We're big on campus about scholarships. In our program, we have a generous donor right now that will give up to $4,000 a year in scholarships to an individual who shows a desire to be successful in our field. I've had this individual split up the scholarships to $1,500 and $1,700. But scholarships are very, very important. We actually also have a scholarship through our program, through our Bay Water Association, which is our student organization. We'll give up to $250 to $300 each semester for a student that applies for that scholarship. All right. We do have work study programs. We have a lot of students that can work on campus doing different tasks in regard to that. We have a lot of grants too. Grants are good things. I like the avenue which Bay Colleges collaborate with the AWWA, MWA, Eagle, the city of Grand Rapids. Actually working with the city of Detroit and Great Lakes Water right now to train their operators to better their ability to pass their certification exams. Again, this is what it's about. It's about these young people, getting them in the field and showing a desire to be successful. Every one of these students right now, these are from 2 years ago, are working in the field someplace in the water and wastewater industry. Some are in Wisconsin, some are downstate, some have actually come back locally to work in some of the local municipalities. This is it says water chemistry lab, but we have a water chemistry lab that's state of the art. We got lots of brand new equipment. We do all the water and wastewater testing required by the state of Michigan and more. We have our own teaching room that we can do Zoom sessions. We can do internet, Zoom, all kinds of stuff. And we have a state-of-the-art mechanical maintenance laboratory, all right? Safety, we do safety presentations. We have lockout, tagout procedures. And one thing that's very, very important to show that we also have, probably the only thing you're going to see in the education facility is a simulator, a chlorine simulator room, okay? Where we teach students how to change out 150-pound cylinders and how a chlorine room actually works. For most of the students that come in our program, they don't know what water and wastewater is about, but we need to really promote the programs to show them what it's about, okay? There's lots of career choices to be made. I actually had a good conversation today with several of the students, and I was really, really impressed how deep they're looking into the program and making that right decision. Anybody have any questions? Feel free to answer anything you got. If not, I appreciate the opportunity to speak here at this wonderful event. Thank you.
Hey, everybody. My name is Alyssa Sarver, and I am a senior environmental quality analyst at Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy. So specifically, I work on the wastewater side of things. So I work in Water Resources Division, and we certify operators for municipal and industrial wastewater and also stormwater operators. So just in our division alone, there's over 19,000 operators across those programs. So stormwater, industrial wastewater, municipal wastewater, lots of different classifications even within those. So over 19,000 people are currently certified in Michigan. So there's a team of 3 of us, and we manage kind of that whole structure there. So lots of cool stuff. Like everybody else that's been up here today, I serve to protect public health and the environment, but specifically by way of managing it through water. So really passionate about it. This has always been basically what I wanted to do, but it took me a few years to get to where I wanted to be, so we'll talk a little bit about that. My main job duties are managing the examination processes specifically for stormwater, but I also support all the other things that we do. And we're working on modernization. So when I came in, the goal was, hey, we've got a lot of processes that we do that are outdated, and we need someone to basically overhaul the way that we do things, the way that we manage applications, the way that we process payment for these applications, things like that. So I lead the group in making sure that we're modernizing, getting operators what they need, serving the public efficiently and with good customer service. So that's my kind of main thing that I do. And then obviously regulatory compliance is the meat and potatoes of what these roles are within EGLE. So it's very policy related. You've got to understand the statute and rules that are in place for your specific program. And so I have learned that I really enjoy that. So that's a cool part of what I do currently that I look forward to keep doing in my career. So work setting is mostly remote now, but one day a week I report to Lansing in Constitution Hall, so it's right down kitty corner to the Capitol, so that's kind of cool. And if I'm not at home and if I'm not in Lansing, then I'm here. I'm doing stuff like this. Sometimes we go to the UP every year to do a conference. I'll be in Traverse City next week for a conference, so we're trying to get out more, do more outreach. Historically, we were kind of more internal, kind of did our own thing, but I really like outreach, and I think we can do a lot if we put ourselves in front of operators and kind of put faces to names. We're not as scary being the regulator, I think, when we do that. So that's something I'm passionate about, and I'm really glad that I was invited to speak today. Skills that are helpful for my job. You know, public speaking has turned out to be something that is really important, and luckily for me, I had some background in that. But also teamwork. Like I mentioned, there's a team of 3 of us that manage the water resources programs, and it's really important for the amount of people that we manage that we work effectively together and have our own lanes designated so that we know what we're doing and can keep, you know, good customer service moving there. But organization and attention to detail is also really critical in what we do, because my main job is to look at the law and rules that are in place for operator certification and then go through these applications and ensure that people are meeting their marks and that they're not missing anything, but also I'm not missing anything. And there's a lot of, you know, making sure that T's are crossed and I's are dots and things like that on both sides, for the operators and for us. And then project and time management, the way that we offer the examinations for these programs is all different. So municipal wastewater exams are offered twice a year, industrial wastewater exams are offered twice a year, and then the stormwater certifications are offered all year round. So we're constantly managing something within its own. There's just a lot to manage. There's a lot going on, always statutory deadlines that we have to make sure we're meeting. We also manage 2 boards of examiners within our unit, and so lots of, again, deadlines that are required to be met. So time management, project management, being able to adapt to changing priorities and things like that is really key. And then, of course, I had to have some knowledge of the industry. There was a requirement, which I will move on to the next thing here. Maybe. There we go. Oh, no. Weird. Okay. So, yeah, so what's required to do the job that I have? Well, when I was in high school, I'm from a small town called Dowagiac in Southwest Michigan, so not big. High school had like 600 kids in it, and we didn't have a lot of extra stuff that you could take, but we did have, like right when I was leaving, we had a teacher that came in that knew astronomy, and so like that was a big deal that we had a class like that we could take, so I took that. We had a guy that ran FFA, Future Farmers of America. He had like a soil and ag class, took that. And then of course your biology and chemistry. I knew from a very young age that this was the industry that I wanted to be in. I was fortunate enough that the property that I grew up on was 64 acres within a conservation easement with the Southwest Michigan Land Conservancy. So I've known for a long time that this is what I wanted to do, but exactly what that looked like, you know, naturally you're not quite sure and you hop around a bit. So in high school though, I knew I needed to take these classes. This is what I was interested in. When I graduated, I had the opportunity to play volleyball and softball at Lake Michigan College. I've heard some folks mention that today, so that's a 2-year school in Benton Harbor. I did that. I took my first real environmental science course there and had an excellent instructor, and then I was like, yeah, I'm sold. This is absolutely what I'm doing. You know, at the time I was like, I'm gonna be a biologist. Like, this is what I'm gonna do. Then I went on to Grand Valley and earned their degree in natural resources management, and I minored in biology. That degree program is incredible. For being a liberal arts program, they really do a good job of honing you in to the skills that you need to be successful in any of these careers. And then the professors obviously come from all walks of life. So for me, I knew I was interested in water specifically, and I was able to work with Dr. Richard Radisky, who's part of the Annis Water Institute. They're here today. He's really good, and I got to learn more about water and water biology through him. He helped me out with my senior project, all that sort of stuff. So if you're interested in doing different things at Grand Valley, I feel like they've got professors that can help you out. So that was cool. And then for what I do now, they do require for environmental quality analysts, you must have a 4-year science degree, or I think it's like 30 hours of credits if you don't have a formal degree. So that was a requirement, and I always knew that I wanted to work for the state because I ended up getting an internship with the DNR, and I was a complete grunt worker. I was chopping down trees, I was planting seeds, I was riding around on four-wheelers, I was doing all this stuff that I had never done before. And I was like, yeah, state work is what I got to do. And I really did think maybe it was wildlife biology that I wanted to do after working with DNR, and then had learned in my senior year what DEQ at the time really did. And I was like, okay, now I know what I want to do. That's the long-term goal. Still love wildlife conservation, all of those things, but DEQ at the time felt like that was going to be more water focused. That's what I wanted to do. So I was an intern with DNR my last year of school. Kind of took a weird turn. When I was a student at Grand Valley, I worked at their engineering school as just an assistant. And because I was a transfer student, I ended up helping them out with setting transfer students up to take engineering classes. And so I had started to get these skills in higher education, and I really liked that. That was really fulfilling to me to help people get through that process, because I had kind of a tough time navigating it as a transfer student. So my first job out of college was back in Dowagiac at Southwestern Michigan College, and I was a recruiter. So I did that for a year. I definitely did not want to be back in Dowagiac, but I moved back home, got set up, got comfortable, figured out what it meant to pay your student loans off at this point, and have a full-time job. So I did that for about a year, and honestly, that's where I learned public speaking. I had to be in front of hundreds of people trying to recruit, talk about the program, just like what Larry does, be out and about at conferences, and it was extremely intimidating initially, but I'm so grateful for that experience now. I've also worked, after that, I met my now husband, and we moved to the east side of the state, and I just needed a job. So I took a part-time job at the Metro Park system on the east side of the state. Another incredible experience. So then I was doing environmental education, which was much closer to what I wanted to do, but still wasn't quite right. I did that for 6 months. It was part-time. And then I got a job with the University of Michigan at their School for Environment and Sustainability, and I was the career counselor there for 3 years, almost 4 years. So I was helping specifically graduate students, masters and PhDs, figure out the field and how do they get a job and what do they do and how do they prep and all of that. That was also extremely fulfilling, but I kept feeling like something was missing because I wasn't working in the industry myself. I was, but I wasn't. So I took a job with an environmental consulting firm. I did phase 1 and phase 2 environmental site assessments. I lasted 4 months. That was not for me because I knew public service was still really what I wanted to do. Flash forward 4 years later, I'm with Eagle. This is the career. This is the dream job. It's just like you said, Bonifer. I felt like all that time I was just kind of working jobs. But when I got to Eagle, I was like, this is my career. This is what I want to do. I want to help people. I'm exactly where I need to be. It's like they wrote this position for me because it's a mix of understanding education and institutions, but also it's science. I have to understand how treatment plants work and things like that. So advice for a younger me, you gain skills from everything you do. I just went through 6 jobs that I had, but by the time I was 26, 25. So numbers don't matter. Do whatever you have to do to gain the skills. You get something from everything. And GPA isn't everything. I've always been somebody that cared about that, and I I beat myself up for a long time if I didn't do well in a class, and it just doesn't matter now. I mean, you should want to do well, but ultimately get your degree. That's going to be what gets you in the door. And why do I love my job? Connecting the dots for people. I love to educate, and specifically with laws and rules, it's super convoluted, and you've got to have, I feel that my job and Corin's job is to help people understand this, jargony stuff. So I love connecting the dots for people. I really enjoy policy. That's where it feels impactful, so I love that. And learning new things. I'm constantly learning new things. I was a country kid, so I was not ever hooked up to city amenities my entire life, and so I've had to learn wastewater, and it's so important, and it's crucial to life, and I love working with the operators. These two photos on the left and right are Escanaba. So Escanaba did an overhaul of their treatment plant, and so this is them in construction. And then, of course, in the middle there, an examination. So the stuff that's not so fun for people but is a requirement for what they do in the water and wastewater industry. We make sure that they get what they need to get things done. So I'm pretty sure gone over my time. But thank you. I've got business cards if you guys need them or want them. And certainly I'm going to be around for some questions here. So thank you for your time.
All right, last speaker, right? There's a few people here, so that's good. Thank you guys for the encouragement. My name is Corin Carpenter, and I'm the Drinking Water Operator and Training Certification Supervisor at EGLE, which is the Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Energy. It used to be formerly known as DEQ. So I work for the state of Michigan. What we do is certification of drinking water operators. Alyssa, who previously spoke, does the wastewater operator certification program. And so we offer examinations. We have about 9 examination sites. We do it in May and then again in November every year. And we have about 4,500 drinking water operators that are certified in the state. So, and more want to be each day. So that's a good thing. I do a lot of training in our group because I think certification and training go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. And we do outreach, like stuff like this here today. This is great. First time, only gonna get bigger, Hillary, I know that. Woo! So I think this is super, and building that water and wastewater workforce are key and integral. So as far as where I work, I'm mainly in office setting right now. So I get out for outreach, I get out at training conferences. There's a rural water one coming up. Bonifer had the Joint Expo Operator Day. Great events, so I get to do that, but mainly it's an office job. That's not true of all of EGLE. A lot of EGLE has field jobs, which are exciting too, which I actually started out doing some of that. I have a passion for people and the environment. I've known since I was little that I wanted to do something good for the environment, and I wanted to be around people and do something that is worthwhile and invest in the future generations, not just mine, but future. So some of the skills that I think are important are collaboration, communication, innovation. So thinking out of the box, I think, is important, not to just do things the same way every time. You got to look for some different results. So you got to go at it from different angles. So a little bit about my career pathway. I started out in high school, actually right north of Lansing in DeWitt, and I took a lot of math and science courses, and I do have to say, one of my teachers turned the page for me. He taught, I think, every single class I took that was in chemistry or mathematics, and so that his enthusiasm drove mine for those areas. So I knew it was going to be science or math coming out of high school. AP courses were not really offered. I'm dating myself back then. So I went the furthest I can go in math and science, but they didn't have AP back then. Or not many. It just started. Computer programming, I did take the old big computers, and I did take a typing class. I don't know, some of you guys probably had typing, but the real typewriter, you might not know what it looks like. It's right there. So I did take a typing class. I think it's called keyboarding now, which It sounds funny, but typing did matter, like it really did, so. And then when I started looking at things right out of high school, I actually started working in the drinking water program in the Department of Public Health, which back then, now it's not Department of Public Health anymore, it's Eagle, but I started in the drinking water field as an intern. And so I knew I was onto something that I really enjoyed, and working for the public, doing public service was a big thing for me. So I knew I was in the right area. So I went on and I went and got a bachelor's in environmental science and engineering at Michigan State. And then, you know, it went from there. I'm like, this is it. I took my first environmental engineering class and I'm like, I am sold. This is like math and science. It's everything in one. So, and then I went on, Eagle has a really nice program where you can go on and continue your education. So I went on to get my master's degree while I was working at the state, which was really nice. And so I have a master's in environmental engineering from Michigan State also. As far as it mentioned here, I was a student intern for DEQ back then, and I was able to go, basically I started in public health, and then I went over and did an internship. There's like upgrades, which was nice. So I got a promotion to go out in surface water. So I did a surface water internship, and I was out in the field. I was in waders, you know, in the rivers and streams doing surface water quality monitoring, which was excellent. So I really enjoyed that. And then my first full-time job was back in public health department, again, at the state of Michigan. And that's where I've kind of worked ever since. So I've always been in the water area. Love the field, love the career. My advice to my younger self is follow your passion and don't be afraid to try something, right? So don't be afraid. That's a quote. The only failure is not to try, right? So you got to try it. See if you like it. Why I love my job, I kind of summed it up. I know it looks like a lot, but my jobs at Eagle, they've allowed me to follow the dream of working for a better place for the world, for everyone, basically. It sounds cliche, but I'm passionate about my career and my job. And I just want to make a difference, right? So I knew early on from all these sciences and all that engineering, all this classroom work, that I want to utilize that now to make a difference. And I feel like all these partnerships, all this networking is going to be key to making a difference for future generations. Water is life. I know a lot of people mention that, but it is. And without water, there is no life, right? So we are key to everything. It starts there, it ends there, I feel like, so. And I think that's all I've got, unless I have any questions. Hillary. Woo. Oh, you do? Oh, okay. Yes. Yes. I think you don't have to be degreed. I think we need to possibly start with the water wastewater tech programs, get them excited about it, get them doing internships, get them in the field, working with people that are passionate about what they do. I think that's a good stepping stone. I mean, I think it's critical to have good writing skills, math, and science. It's ideal, but it doesn't necessarily. Some people just want to work with their hands, right? They just want to work with their hands. So, yeah. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Water Pool-ooza 2023 has come to a close. We did it. I cannot thank you all enough, all of the speakers, all of the participants, all of the volunteers, all of the community partners up above, GRCC and their staff. Everybody, thank you. This would not have been possible without all of you, and I really appreciate every single one of you. If I haven't gone by the tables or reached out to you directly to say thank you, it's not because I'm not grateful. There was a lot going on today, as you all know. Yeah, so thank you. That's a wrap. So I think we still have a couple participants. It's going on for another 10 minutes, but I really appreciate everything that you guys have been here, and I know you all changed lives in some fashion. We have several people who have signed the pledge to be water champions, so all of you up above, if you haven't signed that pledge, please do. So the special prize is that you get to feel good about making a difference in the world. The other thing is, if you still have a passport activity card that is floating around here, there's still a chance to enter your name into a drawing for a $25 gift card. Somebody from our team will be notifying you if you have won. So be on the lookout for that. I swear it's not spam, even though it kind of looks like it when we write it. Yes. I'm just so blessed. Thank you so much. There were multiple times where I felt like I was about to cry because this has been a lifelong dream of mine to host a water festival and to have the capabilities of doing this with this EPA grant and with all of you. This has been a true dream. And you know what? I've got the microphone, so y'all are gonna listen to me right now. Because I've got technically 9 minutes that I could talk until they shut the doors on us. So again, with all of the speakers that came together, all of the community partners that came together and took a chance to attend this event for the very first time, thank you for having faith in this type of event. We had no idea what to expect, so even though I might have sounded confident in my emails, I honestly had no idea what to expect. We're gonna do this again. It's gonna happen. This isn't gonna be a one-off. So be on the lookout. I will be reaching out to every single one of you to participate again. And tell your friends, tell your networks. We wanna grow this. I mean, it was amazing to look into the classrooms and see we were running out of space. We were running out of space because of all the community partners that came together. I had to extend this by an hour because of all of the amazing speakers that wanted to share their passion and share their story about how they got into water and why they love their job. Sorry about the food. Because we extended an hour, people are hangry. But no, thank you so much. I mean, I'm looking around the room and I've made so many new partnerships and friends. GR outside, I'm looking at you. We're gonna collaborate more. I appreciate it. And yeah, you guys have been amazing. So without further ado, give your guys a round of applause for helping out. Like, this was amazing. Thank you, attendees, for showing up. I hope you had fun and learned some things and maybe changed your life in some fashion. I don't know, maybe. All right, that's all I'm gonna say. It's a wrap.